Yep.
So I think like that is like a term that is, or that's a phrase that is usually used when it comes to especially SA, like assault, or S like violence as well. So what it is like, it's trying to kind of emphasize how pervasive and omnipresent that issue is within society, right? So when we're looking at SA or the objectification of women or whatever it is, it's not something that happens on like an individual basis because there are just some bad people. It is a societal issue that is pervasive in every aspect of society. And men sometimes, or all the time, are kind of from cradle to grave conditioned or socialized to act a certain way or treat women a certain way or perceive women a certain way. So when people are saying all men until it's no men, it kind of signifies or it kind of like tries to illustrate that it is a
Yeah.
societal wide issue. It's very widespread, it's very systemic, and until all men don't actively deal with these gender-based issues and eradicate them, that it's going to be affecting everybody. That's
Yeah.
what this phrase
Well said
means,
in
basically.
terms of what it is, but I just think it's a little bit extreme.
In what way?
Why do you think it's extreme?
I think it's extreme. It's extreme because the whole, the idea itself that till it's no man, it should be all men. To emphasize on a message that it could be done otherwise.
I'm not. That sounds like gibberish to me. But so the claim isn't that it should be all men. It's that it is all men. It's a descriptive claim, not a normative claim.
No, I think
I think I'm sorry to interrupt. When we say all men in other instances, it's not necessarily extreme. Like, for example, if I were to go to a bar, right, and somebody were to buy me a drink, let's say, and if it's just a random man, would you say that I should trust all men in that instance?
I don't think you should trust men or women.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I were to get a drink, like, from, let's say, any man in a bar or in a club,
Yeah.
would you tell me that I'm being too extreme if I were to say I'm not going to accept a drink from all men, just from random men in a club?
Yeah, but again, I don't think that only applies to men itself, just men. That implies to any stranger that is men or women.
No, but I'm saying is who poses more of a danger to women in general society?
That would be depending on where the woman is.
I mean, statistically.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
poses
okay,
a greater
statistically, yeah,
danger
it seems.
statistically when it comes to SA, when it comes to physical violence? Like, who poses a greater danger to women?
Yeah, I mean, statistically, it would be men who are mostly in danger, but it's also men who tries to
Okay.
save you out of these instances.
How so?
Wait, what?
You know how men says we gotta keep our woman safe, and then the woman replies with, "Who are you keeping us safe from?" Other men. So it's men doing quite literally everything. The
No,
danger and the
because
saving part.
because like women also keep other women safe. Like it's not the idea that it's like men keeping women safe from other men is like just silly. I like women keep themselves safe. Women keep women safe. Some men keep women safe. It's like you can't say that like men are the people
Then
who are
why is
keeping
it
women
only
safe.
saying for all men till no men? Why would using that logic? It should also be all women till no women.
I mean, so in the context of all men versus no men, it's talking about like very specific issues, and like very specific societal
Okay, but men
structures.
also get
Insofar,
SA.
wait. Insofar as those societal structures exist in favor of men and against women, in the vast majority of cases, then it's going to be all men contributing to and all men benefiting from these structures in some way.
Okay, that kind of just went on top of my head. I'm not gonna lie. Lastly, and the last thing I wanted to say was just where did it go? Yeah, which is kind of a crazy take I'm about to say, but I'm gonna try to defend it. But like, this the belief like in the social, economic, political, blah blah blah, equality of sexes, of sex that should be believed to be given. I think that for rightful reasons, right, there should be a difference between these two. The same way it should be a difference between individuals, right?
Wait, a difference between men and women, or
Yeah.
and so what differences do you want?
Like in terms, no, in terms of like they say opportunity, or in terms of
Why should
being
there
able,
be a difference
or
in
in terms of
opportunity?
positions and fields.
Well, yeah, so I think it should always come back to merit, though. The people who are qualified for the position, the people who are qualified for the job, the people who are qualified for whatever should be the people who get it. And
Hmm.
like this qualification can take in like a wide variety of like social factors and considerations, but like I don't think
Okay.
anyone disagrees with that.
Okay, but do you also, so do you agree that there are more men that would be better at particular fields than most women?
It depends on the field. I mean, if you're
Like
so just
descriptively
like on
speaking.
aggregate, if the field is like construction or something like manual labor, then sure, I guess.
No, I'm talking, okay, that, or in terms of leadership.
No, I don't. I don't think that's true at all. So we have lots of data on who is more effective at leading, and it seems to be like just about a wash. Like a lot of the characteristics that women are socialized to have are actually really beneficial for a leader. That it makes a leader like a much more respectable when they're like communal and empathetic, as many women are socialized to be.
Hmm. But
But also, there was like research that kind of showed that when it comes to leadership positions, that women were more effective than men by like all leadership measures as well. If you want, I can go into those studies. Wait, I
mhm.
had the notes
It's okay.
somewhere
I want.
here.
Oh, I hear myself. Wait, why do I hear myself? Yeah. If you don't have a name of the study or a title, but can you just like, I'll just say that it's true. But what does it say? For what reason or what traits does a woman qualify that makes him a better leader than men?
Yeah. So it usually so it talked about how women were kind of like scored significantly higher in all five creative dimensions when it came to kind of self-awareness, authenticity, systems awareness, achieving. They scored higher, significantly higher than men in their capability to connect and relate to one another, which is what's needed in leadership positions as well. They weren't only good at like building relationships, but also that they built relationships that were kind of characterized by authenticity and awareness of how they could contribute to the greater good of the company in general, beyond like the leader's immediate sphere of influence. They were more likely to kind of lead from a very creative mindset. They were also more likely to build and cultivate stronger connections in terms of like mentoring, developing one another, exhibiting kind of concern with the community, which all were very necessary to kind of help build the business's environment. So, yeah.
Okay, well, but then I mean, statistically speaking, we see that men have been rating more positively over, like in technical professional expertise.
What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what that has to do with leadership. I'm
Like,
also just not even sure what that means.
so like I can like, so it says there's multiple places, right? With www.ssbm.ch, or
Yeah, wait, but
uh,
what's the so that's the source, but what's the claim that you're making? Are you just saying
that
that
there
men
are
are in
more
like
men who
technical
are,
fields more often?
that there are more men succeeding in these leadership roles than there are women in
Yeah, well, that's just
in
going to be
leadership.
because there's like more men in technical professions because of the way women are like pushed out of and discouraged from pursuing things like STEM roles.
Well, don't you think it's a defeat if you can get as a leader? I think as a leader, as a person who's trying to lead, discouragement should not be that easy.
No, but the fact of the matter is that we know what the predictors of seeing like a STEM degree through are. And it's things like seeing yourself represented, getting encouragement from your teachers and your peers. It's going to be various aspects that are just like things that are present for men, but not present for women. So you're going to have more women in these like technical leadership professions if you have fewer women getting pushed out of these technical professions in the first place.
Yeah, and also it's kind of like if you apply that logic to, let's say, for example, race, right? Right? White people are going to disproportionately be represented in leadership positions, right? Or CEOs. Just because they're disproportionately represented does not necessarily mean that all other races of people aren't capable of being leaders. It just goes to show that it's a systemic issue, right? That is kind of disproportionately helping white people reach those positions while discouraging and ostracizing other races of people. And instead of helping kind of like alleviate that burden and get rid of that issue, it would not be, I think, like productive to say, oh, it's just because like white people are better
Okay,
leaders, and
but
that's
then I mean, isn't
just
it
being
okay? So,
represented.
but I would just argue. I think it's more reasonable to conclude that to be the case. Although, however, I do agree that it's hard to measure what it can actually mean because there could be more to it. But it's just more reasonable because we can see in real time and observe that this is to be the case than just believing in something that could be. Does that make sense? Because we have proven already that men are in a status where we perform better. I guess it's
No, but
no.
that's not the case because we can like just do statistical analysis about what the predictors for success in these types of fields are. And like these types of things indicate that women are far less supported than men are in these fields, that they're far less encouraged by their teachers, by their peers, by their various professors, and we know that they face misogyny and discrimination at like every part of the hiring process and the job itself. These are systemic barriers. These are not like things that women just like need to persevere on through. LOL. Like these are things that we need to like get rid of if we want like a fair and equal society. And in doing so, we will have more women in these positions because there are fewer systemic barriers.
Okay. Well, that being said, I appreciate you allowing me up and kind of talking through what it means with feminism. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on up here. I hope we
Also,
were able
before
to.
you
Oh,
go,
yeah,
like
go for it.
look into the differences between like liberal feminism and intersectional feminism. A lot of the hate that feminism gets in general is due to like liberal feminism as well.
Liberal feminism.
And
What's the
people
second one?
intersectional feminism.
Okay.
Like for me personally, I would be like an intersectional feminist, right, and not necessarily a liberal feminist as well. So look into like the different forms of feminism that exist.
Okay. No problem. I do that if I remember. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that. All right, guys. Take
yeah.
care.
Wait,
Thank
if you
you.
want like a good book recommendation, I think the book is called Philosophical Trends in the Feminist Movement, and I forget who the author is, but it discusses liberal feminism and the problems with it, and then it goes through like a wide variety of other forms of feminism that have and the pros and cons of each of them.
Okay. Great. More things to remember. All right.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. See
yeah,
ya.
yeah. If you're interested, all
For
right.
sure. I'll join. You have a Discord server, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you should definitely stop on by.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great time to plug.
All
Yeah.
right. Bye bye.
All right, yeah, thanks so much for coming up. But yeah, if you're interested in the debates, you should consider definitely following Athena, and also dropping a follow to me if you're enjoying the debate so far. But Athena's great. If you're not following her, you definitely should. Consider joining the Discord as well. There's a link in bio. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want to talk about. You need to access it via a web browser, though. It's a great place to learn and meet people. And there's like a lot of people from the Discord who are here right now. It's a great place, and I think you'd really enjoy it. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Athena, you are killing it.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm a friend of Athena's. I'm not opposition at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, love. I just wanted to actually bring up an analogy that I've used for a long time in regards to the last conversation about it's all men until it's no men. A great way of thinking for me is I give an example of you're in your home and you open your front door and your enclosed garden is filled with snakes. Those snakes, some of them are poisonous, some of them are not, some of them may unalive you, some of them may not. What do? Logically, a person would stay in their home because they're not going to risk their life going into that garden because it's all snakes until it's no snakes. So, any common sense, you cannot sit there and tell me that a person going through life as a femme presenting person is going to be safe amongst all men because we don't know those men. We don't know whether or not those men are poisonous and potentially will unalive us. So the saying, it's all men until it's no men, is for a reason. 80% of the, violence that takes place is coming from men. There's no way to get around those statistics. There's no way to do anything about them until it stops. So this idea that some men are safe, we don't know that. There's no way for us to function through society knowing that. You can have an issue with the stance if you would like to, but again, you're not looking at it from the perspective from femme presenting people.
Definitely.
But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on up here, and thanks for that. I wrote down this analogy. I'll use it if I ever come into a conversation about all men till no men. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on up. And hey, Jessica, thanks so much for the $15 on Venmo. I really appreciate it. That's extremely generous of you. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 20K likes. We're almost there. Share it with your friends. Drop a comment as well. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going? How old are you?
What, me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 13.
Oh, you gotta be
That's
18
a
year old.
fetus.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like pretty sure when I first heard it. It's like, yeah,
That's
it's
a
like a
fetus?
fetus. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Webster, we got a relation to theirs. And
Hey,
they're
what's up?
already
Big.
anxiety as far
Hey,
as
hello. Are you there? Big. Hello.
class, but that's normal. I mean,
Big
Yeah,
flounder.
well, but
not
it-
wanting to get
You there?
fucked for the fifth time in a row.
Okay. I guess not. But again, make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Make sure you drop Athena a follow if you're not following.
You can hear me,
already.
Ian?
Yeah, I can. How old are you?
All right, what's up, It?
Hey. How old are you?
20.
Perfect. And do you disagree? Do you think feminism is not good?
What's your definition?
So feminism is just a political philosophical framework for dismantling patriarchy.
So you're talking about patriarchy?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, let me, I have a definition for that too. One second. A political social system where men as a group are constructed as dominant and superior to women as a group. So
On average, physically, men are superior to females.
wait, but we're not really talking about like physically. Like we're talking about like social structures, like societally. We don't base social hierarchy on like who's physically stronger. That would be like weird.
So what do you mean by social hierarchy? Like equal pay
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Yeah, so it's just that the
females
women
have the
are
right to vote and they could go to school.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
can
cool.
you stop saying females and instead just say women, please?
yeah.
Thank you.
It's male and female.
Yeah, well, but it's like weird. It's like weird and like reductive to women to like reduce them just to like their biology or like their body or whatever. It's strange. Just say women.
We
Well,
can't
enough
bring up
to-
biology with the it. So it's male and female.
So I don't know if you noticed this, Noah, but you said men and females. You didn't say male and females. You said
I s-
men and females multiple times. So if
Okay.
you're going to like say men, then I would hope that you could say
Men
women
and
as
women.
well.
Men and women.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
perfect. Yeah. So what was the question that was being asked? I completely forget. It was
The social structure. 'Cause you
yeah.
said
So
feminists
the contention is
lie
just
in
that
social structure, which is incorrect.
The contention is just that women are socialized and expected to be via their gender role in a position where they're deprived of societal power, economic power, and political power. That they're expected to not be in like leadership roles or in high earning economic positions or being like a community leader or whatever. They're expected to like stay home and like take care of a family.
Women are community leaders women are.
Yeah, that's
Community
fine.
leaders when they take care
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
family.
on
It starts
occasion,
with the
but
family.
in spite, they're the community leaders in spite of systemic barriers, not because of them. Like in order to be a community leader, they still had to overcome many systemic barriers. That the contention is just that it's like substantially
saying
more difficult for
feminists
women to
exist
get to
because
these
you haven't
positions in
seen
the
a
first
female
place.
president?
What?
So you're saying feminists exist because you haven't seen a female president?
No, that's not what I said.
That's
I'm
basically what you're
specifically
saying.
talking about like the social expectations, right? Like that we have these gender categories that people are expected to fulfill. And for women, their expected category is one where they hold no social or very limited social power, economic power, and political power.
I think that feminist is a term to try to get more power into something that's already been given to them. And I think it's an excuse.
I don't think that's true at all. I think there's many statistics that would indicate that feminism is necessary and the project of feminism is completely incomplete. Things like the fact that women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications, the fact that women are 8 times less likely to be given a promotion if they have a child compared to a man who has a child, the fact that the wage gap is still alive and prevalent, the fact that women are like essayed so frequently, it's like 1 in 4 or 1 in 3, depending on what statistic you use, the fact that the rate of essay is dependent on social and cultural factors, specifically the rate at which people are grape supportive or not grape supportive dictates the frequency at which these things happen. We live in a patriarchy. This is going to be indicated by like every statistic.
So males and females could both vote. Males and females could both go to school. Males and females could both speak. And now you're saying because certain males and females don't get paid the same, and because certain males and females are different qualified leaders, that feminists exist?
What? Well, so I think the claim that feminists exist is not really the claim that I'm making. The claim that I'm making is that feminism is good. The fact that feminists exist is like self-evident. But yeah, so, okay, let's say that things are equal in terms of voting, which is not true because women are very frequently disenfranchised from their vote in the first place. But let's say that that is true. So even if we are equal in this category, if we're unequal in this category, then it's still going to be a problem, and it's going to be something that we as a society need to fix.
So how would you fix it?
I would fix it by getting rid of the systemic barriers, getting rid of the
So where do
negative
the barriers
social.
exist?
Where do the barriers exist socially, culturally, and oftentimes the barriers are enshrined into law in the case of things like Roe v. Wade, for example, or like the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
So you believe in killing babies?
I don't believe in killing babies. I don't think that a fetus is a baby.
Do you think that you have the power to
Oh, yeah. Well, he got dropped for hate speech. So it goes, I suppose. Yeah, that's like pretty standard. Damn,
I'm
bro was
sorry,
not
that was
tracking either.
that I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to be rude. That was like the dumbest like argument ever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't think that's rude. I think that's just like a descriptive fact. But make sure you're just like double tapping on that screen. Fuck. If we get I don't know. I'm considering restarting the live so I don't lose the account, but
You could.
yeah, I think I'm gonna restart the live just to avoid getting banned, but I'll restart it and then I'll come right back. Things like being a TERF, for example, that's not good. But feminism overall as a framework is going to be good and necessary for getting rid of things like the patriarchy.
No, but you see, I mean, the issue with this is that you're trying to speak in objective terms when you can't, because when you look at feminism, it's premised on nature or nurture or the distinctive difference between men and women.
I guess I just don't understand what your contention is. Like, I think most feminists would reject the idea that what it means to be a woman is like defined and determined by nature alone. I would hold that we can't tell how much of behavior, like differences in gender
that's
behavior,
exactly my
is
point.
due
That's
to
exactly
society or is due to things like biology. We can't actually determine this stuff until we live in a society where these things these behaviors are socialized differently, where everyone is socialized to treat each other equally.
But hear what I'm saying. I understand that elementary point that the argument is what is the greater contribution for a woman, nature or nurture? What is the lion's share? But what I'm saying to you is that because I've listened to what you're saying, I mean, I've been listening to you for maybe the last 2 or 3 minutes, and much of what you say is verbiage because you're trying to make these kind of utterance as if they're objective truth, and they are not.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. What claims have I said that you take issue with?
I mean, what claims? I mean, even a lot of what you've just said, you make it seem as if you have some kind of
so this is the question was just what claim have I made that do you think is false?
No, but you're making it seem as if you've got extensive empirical research.
You can't even name a claim. You can't even name the claim. You came up here just to complain about how I'm saying false things, and you can't even name a claim. What claim have I said that's false?
No, but what I'm saying to you is that sometimes you're speaking so fast, you're speaking at a machine gun rate that you do not allow a lot of what you say to register in somebody's mind. And I know that you've made false claim. The fact is that once you speak, you just speak repeatedly. That is hard to retain.
Can you tell me what claim I've made that is false?
No, I mean, no,
it seems like, and the reason I talk fast in many cases is because of my ADHD. It's stimulating for me to talk this fast. I don't like it when people talk very slow.
No, I don't like when people talk slow either. But what I am saying to you is that you have to speak at a reasonable rate so people can register what you're saying and reply.
This isn't even like tone policing. It's like rate of speech policing. Like,
no, but what I'm saying to you is that how can somebody have a conversation if your communication is not one that is well suited for a good dialogue.
Well, it seems as if the people that I talk to understand the things that I'm saying. So if you want me to talk slow for you, I'm more than happy to do so.
No,
I just
but you
need to
see,
know
I
this.
mean,
Like
that's
I'm
it.
willing to accommodate people. I just need
No,
to
but you
know
see,
what they
no,
need
but
in
you see,
terms of
that's
their
no, but
accommodations.
no, but you see, that's just a condescending view that you're trying to put to me, and it's not one that I am
Well,
very
if I'm
appreciative
talking too
of.
fast, you can ask me to slow down and I'll speak slower.
But what you're saying is that if feminism is good, and what I am trying to say, I don't even think that we can even look at it in that kind of singular. That is what I am trying to say to you. Because how would you define feminism, please?
So
I mean, define
feminism
it.
is a
How would you
political,
define it?
philosophical framework for dismantling patriarchy.
No, but you see, there is not even the consensus on how to define feminism, even by
That's my definition of feminism. So when I say feminism is good, I'm not talking about anything other than the political philosophical framework for
no, but
dismantling patriarchy.
no, but
That's what I
let's
mean when I say the word.
but hear what I'm saying to you. But I mean, that's your definition. But I mean, if we are supposed to begin at a premise of arguing what feminism is, we have to look at the literature by prominent scholars like Simone de Beauvoir, Mary Wollstonecraft, Kate Millett, Germaine Greer. That is what I'm saying. My issue with a lot of these views about feminism is because I'm immersed in the argument. I'm immersed in the literature. I've read quite a few of the literature on feminism. I don't claim to be an authority on feminism because I am not, but I know that I can give a coherent view. I
By
said it's.
objective.
I mean, what I mean by objective approach is that one that is almost kind of factual, or one that is one that is scientifically testable. That is what I'm saying. Because when you talk about feminism, at the center, what underpins feminism is human nature. What is the fundamental nature of women? Because if you look at the premise of Simone de Beauvoir in one of the seminal texts in the history of feminism called The Second Sex, the opening line is that one is not born a woman, one becomes a woman, which is from the existential premise that says
Yes,
that
I
the
understand
sex
all
of
of
a
this, but
woman
what's
is
your
formed.
point?
No, what's my point is that, like I said, a lot of what you are asserting, you make it seem as if it's a scientific fact. And
Yes,
it's
a
not.
lot of the things that I use to say that patriarchy exists and is bad are facts. I use statistics
No,
related
but
to
it's not
the
fact.
wage gap, statistics related to the rate at which people are hired, statistics related to SA, statistics related to the prevalence of conscious biases in a wide variety of countries. I use facts to support my position, so I'm not entirely sure what
No, but
your contention seems to
no,
be.
but when you say that you use facts and you use data, I would like to know the source of those kind of data. And a lot of those sources are very misleading and very, very dubious. You have to look at the context. You have to look at the framework. Statistics never tell a story by themselves. You have to look at the framework.
Yeah, but statistics can make a claim and then I can say, wow, that claim, like that's a bad thing. So for example, according to the University of Barcelona, women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications. So I can look at this, I can say, wow, it seems like women are much less likely to be hired than a man who has identical qualifications, and I can say that's bad. That sounds very discriminatory.
No, but these discriminatory that you're even pointing to, or that you're even trying to amplify to create a narrative, don't you think that they will vary from culture to culture? Where even with feminism, or there isn't even this homogeneous treatment to women in different cultures. And like I'm saying to you, you have to look at the framework of these statistics, because a lot of time they are very, very dubious. I mean, I'm not here to attack you. I appreciate what you're saying and I follow you. But on this,
Do
I
you have a
think,
critique of the statistic, or are you just making the argument that statistics are bad?
I mean, do I have a critique of the statistics? I
Yeah.
mean, well, what I've learned, I mean, from my formal education is that, I mean, what is statistics? I mean, you have to look at the framework, you have to look at the conditions of these statistics, because you cannot look at numbers and then try to create a narrative, or look at numbers as if they are in conclusion in themselves.
You certainly can in many cases. So it's just going to be about how strong the narrative is related to the statistics. So, since, again, according to the University of Barcelona, women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications, I can look at this and say that, wow, it seems like hiring managers have a bias against women. That it seems like there is some hiring discrimination that takes place here in the first place, and that is too bad. Like, that's bad. It's a bad thing, and it, quite frankly, shouldn't happen.
I mean, what does statistics what does these numbers exactly highlight? Because these numbers don't say anything. I mean, here's a statistics, but what is the root cause?
The statistics, highlight the prevalence of bias and discrimination
I
among
disagree.
hiring managers against women.
No, I disagree, because I mean, there may be different variables than just the discrimination that you're trying to point to. That is what I'm saying to you. You are trying to espouse discrimination as if it's the objective explanation for these statistics, when you are not providing any evidence for it. Yes, you can cite statistics, but what are the root cause for these statistics? You are creating
discrimination and gender bias. That seems to be
be
the strongest and most supported conclusion that I could arrive at, unless you have an alternative theory for why women are hired 30% less than men with identical qualifications, keeping in mind that all of the fields that this study was done on are not manual labor in any way, shape, or form. It was things like nursing or like engineering or things of that nature. There's no manual labor. I'm not sure why anybody would hire a woman less 30% of the time when she has identical qualifications.
Now, what you are doing is that you are using statistics in the same way that people use quote or quotations from a literature. You are removing the context. You are removing the framework.
Is there context that you would like to add to the statistics that I've cited?
And you are engineering a narrative that is highly questionable.
Is there context you would like to add to the statistics that I cite?
No, what I am saying to you is that...
Wait, that's a yes or no question. So for the statistics that I've cited, is there context that you would like to add?
You're saying that this is a yes or no question, and
it is, yeah, just like yes, I would like to add context. No, I would not like to add context.
But you see, I don't agree with the premise of your presentation of the question, because it almost seems as if you're trying to imprison this discussion by presenting me with a binary option.
That is quite literally the only two answers you could give to the question. Either yes, there is context you would like to add, or no, there is not context you would like to add. So I'll ask you again, yes or no. Is there context you would like to add to the statistics that I've cited?
No, but it's almost like you're trying to remove my autonomy and you're trying to imprison this conversation. That is what you're trying to do. When I am trying to say that there is more room to this conversation than what you're trying to do by presenting two options that just make this conversation have a kind of claustrophobic air about it. And it's obvious.
I think these are weird words to describe a yes or no question with. I don't think when I ask you a yes or no question that I'm like holding this conversation prisoner or whatever. I'm just asking you a question. You said that my statistics are taken out of context. Would you like to add any context to my statistics?
What context can I possibly add?
So it sounds like no. So you claim that my statistics are out of context, but you don't have any more context to add to my statistics.
What I am saying is that, what I am saying to you is that yes or no, that yes or no that you're presenting me with, it just impoverish the conversation, because how can you just cite statistics without any framework? That is what I am trying to say. There is no context. And I can see that we are not going to go anywhere in this.
All right, that sounds good. I guess I'll move on to the next guest. That was excruciating. That was the worst conversation I've ever had in my entire life, Athena. That was terrible.
I just sat here and kept quiet because, yeah.
That was Horrible. Wow. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Consider following Athena especially, but also me if you want to see more debates like this in the future. Consider joining the Discord if you're 18 or older. You could join via the web browser, so you go to tiktok.com and go to allegedly.ian. And then you can access it that way, or the Discord that way. If you're 18 or older, I'd love to see you there. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want to talk about. It's a great place. I think everyone would really enjoy it. And with that, we will go to the next guest. But make sure you're commenting, liking the live up. Let's get to 20K likes, sharing it with your friends. It's good for the health of the stream. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Hello? They hate Geo. Are you there? Hello? Bro, they aren't the only ones who hate Geo. Please bring someone on smart. Well, you know, it's unfortunately with this live, there's not a lot of good opposition. So most people are deeply confused and don't really know what they're saying.
I think Love Tennis wants to be lit up.
Yeah. Well, I just let people up in the order that they request to join, so we'll get to Love Tennis in a little bit. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, how old are you?
20 years old.
Okay, and do you think that feminism is not good?
I think women's rights is essential.
Mm-hmm.
They should be, held to the same standards. And I think your premise for the argument you're making shouldn't be about, advocating for feminism, because that's not the answer. It should just be, giving women the rights they deserve, giving them the same fair and equal treatment as they deserve, of course. And that should be the end of it. But what you're preaching is not a good thing. It's going to cause more problems for society. It's going to destroy more families. It's going to raise weaker generations.
In what way is it going to do any of those things?
Because you're a big statistic guy, so it's been statistically proven that women run households, or without the father figure, without the traditional father figure, they tend to, deviate into a lot of self-destructive paths with, mental health crisis, a lot of transgenderism, which is a leading cause of, women-run households.
That just sounds like gibberish to me. That sounds like complete fucking nonsense.
It's not, bro, because look how they raised you. You're wearing a cockroach tie.
Yeah, well, it's a cicada, actually, and it was a gift from my best friend, who I love deeply. So I wear it as a symbol of my love and affection for my best friend. Oh, he left. That's fine, I guess. Or wait, did he get... I don't know, he might have gotten taken down. Who knows? I'm not sure. I looked down at my cicada for like just a second, and then that happened. But wow, I was like the least bigoted anti-feminist, by the way. They're just more bigoted from there. But make sure you double tap on that screen. Let's get to 20K likes.
I like how he explained feminism, saying that's what society needs, and then turned around and said feminism was a bad thing.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we need like women's rights, and then Hey, what's up, James? How's it going?
Going good.
How old are you?
33.
Mm-hmm. And do you think feminism is not good?
Yes.
Okay. So why do you think that?
Because it's inherently unequal to say that. I believe in equality for men and females.
Mm-hmm. Men and
women.
Females? You mean men and women?
Yep, you're right, Ian.
Yeah. I don't know. You should not say like men and females. It's weird.
So you're going to tell me what I can and can't say?
I'm saying you shouldn't say it. It's a weird thing to say.
No, I got you, but you knew what I mean, right?
Yeah, but it's just like it comes off in a very particular way when you say things like men and females that you...
No, I got you. I'll respect your opinion on your life.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Well, I don't know. It's just like advice for like your personal life. Like most people are going to be, or a lot of people are going to be off-put if that's the phrase you use. But I don't want to get too hung up on that.
No, we won't. It's your live. I'll do what I want in my personal life, but I want to answer your live's question.
Yeah, so go
So
for it. So why do you think that
thanks for the
feminism
advice.
is bad?
I just said it's inherently unequal to both men and women, and
So
I
how
think
is it
I
unequal? James?
it's unequal because it's unequal in the context because if you look at it in the court systems, you would want men and women to be treated fairly, correct?
Yeah, I think
You
the
would want it to be
in
based.
terms of like if divorce court is what you're talking about, then actually one of the main reasons. So the majority of the time when men actually
It's
fight for
not, but go ahead.
custody, they get custody of their kids. If that's what you're referring to, it's just that men don't fight very often for custody because they either don't want to or they've been told by anti-feminists that like they're gonna lose if they even try to contest their like custody on their kids, which is not true. The vast majority of cases is like joint custody, but when men do try to fight for sole custody, they get it much more often than women do.
That's not quite what I'm trying to say, Ian. I'm trying to say like if a police officer arrested somebody for harassment or like gang stalking and they had a suspicion, you would want that based on evidence in court. So like I get what you're saying about divorce court. I'm just saying that in any court of law for any crime or for any uh, topic that you're discussing, you would want it to be based on evidence and credential. That's all I'm saying is that I think feminist is not based on evidence or credential because you want a job to be based on your evidence or your credential of what you've done or what you've achieved. And that should be equal and not, oh, well, we're going to give this person a job or we're going to give them this authority just because they're a female. Not saying that they shouldn't have it because I think females should be able to do any position.
I think you mean women.
But I think, yeah, okay, you're live. You're right. Women. I
Yeah,
think
so
women
wait,
should be able to do any job they
is your
want.
contention that there's like unfair treatment in the court systems or just that our position isn't based on evidence?
I'm saying that everything should be judged on evidence as if it were in court. So do you think that courts are based on evidence?
Some of them
Yes or
are,
no?
although some of them certainly are not.
Okay, well, I think that in an ideal court system, in an ideal world, things should be based on actual evidence
Sure.
and credential and not just somebody's morals. Like, you could have a moral opinion that my wife should stay at home, and then somebody else could have the moral opinion, okay, well, I think both spouses should work. But I think that it should be based on like the evidence of what households are happier. Are men and women happier when there's two incomes in the household, or are they happier as a unit when one spouse is working and the other is staying at home? That's all I'm saying is like you want to bring up statistics with your other guests. So I mean, I would kind of lean towards agreeing with statistics. Sometimes they might be biased or discriminatory, but they've been proven for a reason, and that's why they have studies, is because they're trying to make people go with statistics instead of just going by the seat of their pants.
So what statistic would you like to present that says that feminism is bad or that the goal of feminism is bad? Because I could I could present a plethora of statistics that say that women face systemic discrimination in like basically every part of their life.
I would have to have some time to prepare if you want to have me on at another time
I
because
can
I
just,
just
well, so if you
joined.
don't have any statistics, I can just give you some of mine.
I'm more than willing to hear your statistics.
Yeah, so according to the University of Barcelona, women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualification for the exact same job, keeping in mind that these jobs are not manual labor and there is no clear reason why a man or a woman should be preferred in any of the jobs that were studied according to the UN. At least 50% of people have one conscious bias, not subconscious, but conscious bias against women in American society, at least. Women are 8 times less likely to get a promotion when they have a kid than a man is when he has a kid. Women are like 1 in 4 women are essayed, and we know that the rate of essay, the rate of things like rape, are dependent on the social and societal factors present in any given society. So there's just like a plethora of statistics that would indicate that women are disadvantaged like everywhere.
Ian, was
Yeah.
this study done in Spain? Where was this
It was
study
done in Spain. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you're talking about European people, or is this also applicable to the United States?
But it's like
Because I
Western
would
people in
argue,
general. This is like the only study of this nature that I can seem to find. But if you have a different study, I'd love to hear it. But I have no reason why I wouldn't assume that similar things are true between America and Spain. Like both
I
of
would
these are
argue
both of these are like Western societies, so I'm not sure what the problem is.
you really think Spain is comparable to the United States, so you're going to compare Spain to Indiana.
Yeah, in this sense, sure. Yeah, why not?
There's no way you can do, because Indiana doesn't have any mountains. It doesn't have an ocean. European people eat smaller
I have
portions. They're
no
healthier.
idea whatsoever what mountains and oceans have to do with hiring discrimination.
It has to do with the people's happiness, because statistically, people are happier when they live on the coast. Do
Yeah,
you want to
that's
dispute
really
that?
cool, but what does that have to do with hiring discrimination?
Because you brought up a European study, and are you American or not?
I'm
Why are you
American, that's
bringing?
correct, but this is the only study I can seem to find on this. I'm not sure what oceans and
So why
mountains
don't you
have to
find an
do.
American study,
I'm
Ian?
not sure. I'm not sure what oceans and mountains have to do with the prevalence of hiring discrimination.
I
I'm not
just
sure why
told you what it
oceans and
has to do with
mountains would
it.
seem to make a difference.
I just told you people are statistically happier on the coast.
And why
You're
would that
telling me
lead
I didn't tell
to
you.
why would that lead to like less, or in this case, why would that lead to more hiring
Because it leads to less
discrimination?
discrimination.
No, if so, oh no, you don't want to do that, because if oceans and coasts lead to less discrimination and there's lots of discrimination in Spain, then we would expect even more discrimination in the places that aren't Spain. So,
Well, no,
good
it's a
job. You just
Spanish-speaking
thumped your
country.
entire point.
The United States is an English-speaking country, so why don't you cite a study from England or from America? What
I'm
state
not
are you
sure. I'm
from?
not sure why hiring discrimination would be dependent on the language spoken in the country. Do you have any
What state are
relevant
you from?
factors?
Factors for what? What's your question?
Any
Relevant
like
factors for what?
relevant statistical factors, because it seems like the only factor you're citing is one, mountains and coasts is the reason why there's more hiring discrimination in Spain, and two, the language spoken for why there's more hiring discrimination in Spain. I have no idea why any of these things would lead to more hiring discrimination.
I don't think 30% is a compelling statistic
You don't
when
think
you compare that.
30% less likely to be hired is a compelling statistic, really?
I do not. I do not.
30% less likely to be hired based on their gender alone. You don't think
Okay,
that's
well,
compelling? Really?
Okay, give me a statistic on the households in Spain and if both spouses work. Is Spain primarily a single breadwinning family, or is it two incomes in Spain? Give me the
I have
statistics
no
on
idea.
that.
Athena might know more about this than I do because I don't live in Europe, but I'm not sure why that would matter.
Okay, but you're citing a European statistic.
I don't know.
Ian.
I'm not too sure why this would justify hiring discrimination. I would still say that hiring discrimination is bad.
Because Spain is a Spanish-speaking country. Cite something
And
that's
what does that
English.
have to do with them discriminating on who they hire?
Because I don't think your statistics are worth anything. Like you're citing
you
the
haven't been
University of
able to
Barcelona.
cite a single relevant factor.
Then bring me on in a week, and I'll prepare, and I'll own you.
Okay, sounds good. I look forward to getting owned.
Wait,
You want to
why
bring me
are
on in a
you?
week?
Why are your opinion? Why are you like? Why are you so strong opinionated on this topic if you don't even have statistics to back it up? What are you basing your opinions on?
Well, Wheezy, with all due respect, I joined the live because I thought it was a compelling question. So
Okay.
he offered to join the live if I disagree, which I did, and then I'm making my arguments. If you want me to make a more educated argument, then you need to give me time to prepare. I had no time for the.
No, I know, but my point is, why are your opinions so like strong when it comes to you denying the existence of gender-based discrimination within the workforce if you haven't actually prepared for it or read up on it or you don't have the actual necessary statistics on it?
I won't deny it, Wheezy. I'm just saying that I would prefer an American or English study on the idea or facts that you're presenting. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because I'll agree with you. I'll agree that there is gender discrimination. I'm not going to disagree with you there. But you're saying it when the primary viewership in this live is probably American. So I don't know if Spain or a Spanish-speaking country is applicable to the audience here. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just not sure why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because Spanish people and their culture is much different than America, and it's much different than England or France. Like, it has to be applicable to your viewers. So you're citing this, like, are you Spanish? Are you from Spain? Is that your ancestry? Like,
No,
why
it
are you
sure
using
isn't.
this?
No, I'm
So how do you-
Irish German, but both of these are westernized countries. There's like tremendous cultural overlap in this. I'm not sure why this would be a relevant factor unless you could prove to me that
disagree.
like,
There's
unless you
not
could prove to me
overlap
that
between
Spain is like a
and
uniquely
Germany.
misogynistic country.
I don't think there's overlap between Spain and Germany. I think they're way different. There's no overlap there. They're two
You don't think there's
entirely
any
different
overlap,
cultures.
really?
I do not.
That sounds like nonsense to me. So you
Get
think that
something from the
there's
University of Berlin then. Get something from the University
Wait,
of Berlin and then have them match that up with the University of Barcelona.
wait, hold on 1 second. No. Wait, hold on. The reason as to why Ian is bringing up Spain is because this is just generally a Western issue, right? Societally.
yeah.
Well, a global issue as well, right? That's why they're bringing it up. But what statistics do you need? Because if it has to do with, let's say, for example, gender pay gap, those statistics exist within the U.S. as well, right? Like if you're talking about hiring discrimination, those statistics exist within the US as well. Maybe it might not be like a singular comprehensive study that has been conducted, but there have been multiple studies that have been conducted by multiple institutions over the years that do show that there are varying degrees of gender-based discrimination. I mean, there was one that, with regards to policing in the U.S. that female law enforcement received less pay than male law enforcement, for example,
So,
right?
Wheezy, if you want to bring up cops, what about that police officer that got put in the news about all the men that were having sex with her on the media? Like, do you really think that was right,
What
or
the
do you think
fuck
that
does
was
that
gender?
have to do with anything?
What does that have to do with
Jesus.
anything? I'm so confused.
Because you're talking about gender roles in the workforce, and now I'm bringing up a fact about how females are
I
getting
did not
abused
say
in the
gender
workforce by
roles.
men.
What are
I
you
did not
talking
once say
about?
roles.
She brought
I
up
did
women in
not.
law enforcement, and I was
Yes,
making a
yeah,
comment on
yeah.
that.
Just to
And
talk about like the gender, like the pay
Wage
discrimination that they
gap, yeah.
face. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
just
So
about pay, though. It's about
I
supremacy.
did not bring up yeah, I did not bring up gender roles. I brought up wage
Not
gap
just about
with
pay, it's
law
about
enforcement.
supremacy, and you know it.
Well, but yeah, pay is going to be indicative of supremacy. I mean, if you're depriving women of economic power, then that seems to be a form of supremacy.
Yeah.
Correct, and it's wrong. It should
Cool,
be equal.
cool, cool. So
That's
we
what we're
agree.
arguing.
All right, so what's your point about women in law enforcement, Wheezy? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
It had to do with the gender wage gap that exists even within law enforcement, within
What do you
US
do
law
for
enforcement.
work? Are you a cop?
Why
No,
why
I'm
does she
not
need to be?
ACAB. Yeah, but
Because I
ACAB
want to
while
know
we're
why
at
this
it.
topic
I'm
is
not a cop.
important to Wheezy.
You asked for certain examples. I could also give you just
Hmm.
gender wage gap in general. Like, for example, according to Pew Research Center, in 2022, black women earned 70% as much as white men, and Hispanic women earned only 65% is what white men earned, right? I could give you other fields of work as well. The cop thing was just an example. No, I do not work in law enforcement, ACAP.
What do you propose to make things more equal then, if it's unequal?
Uh,
What do you
Paying them the
propose,
same amount of
Wheezy?
money, Jesus. Like
yeah.
what?
Oh, okay, as an entry level, or paying them more money immediately?
Well, for the same role, for the same work, they should get paid the same amount of money.
Okay, that doesn't happen right now.
No.
No.
I would argue it happens at some jobs and not all.
Okay, cool. Well, I want it to happen at all jobs, even if that's true.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
I'll agree with you there.
there's also like no simple like approach, right? The reason as to why I had a hard time answering is because like it would probably most likely take like a multifaceted approach, right? So you don't only pay them equally, like you could increase like minimum wage, you could help with like negotiation training, like salary negotiation training, right? You could have more standardized pay structures and all those different things, right? So like it's a multifaceted approach to solve a multifaceted issue as well, which is very complex. But the first thing that Ian just said with regards to pay them equally, that would be a start, maybe.
So, Wheezy, do you agree with dual income households, or do you think that the women should take care of the kids and stay at home, and then the man should be the breadwinner? Because it sounds like you and Ian both agree that both spouses should be working.
Well, I think people
Um,
should do whatever they want to do.
exactly. That's what I think as well. I think people should just make
That's
their
not
own decision
possible any
what's best
longer
for them.
because of how much things cost in America.
That's
Again, I
not, I
should
mean,
think people should make their own decisions with whatever
In
works
most major
for them.
cities, you need two incomes to live unless you're making
oh,
over
that's cool.
$100,000 a year.
Capitalism is fucked up. Good point, bestie.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it also has to do with gender because a lot of people think that women should be at home taking care of the kids. Do you disagree with that?
I think
Did your
people
mom
should do
stay at
whatever
home
they
with you?
want to do. If a woman wants to stay home and take care of the kids, more power to her. If a man wants to stay home and take care of the kids, more power to him. If both of
What
them want to
happened in your
work, then that
household?
sounds great. Go for it. Do
Why
whatever
are
you
you
want to
asking
do.
personal questions? I'm a bit confused at this point, James.
Well, what was the
Well, because
question
personal
even?
experience is just as
He asked
valuable
you
as
if
education.
he asked you what the gender roles were within your household, Ian.
Within my household, I think my mom mostly raised us, and then she did like work as a real estate agent on the side, and then my dad went to work.
How is it in your household, James?
I had both people work. My mother and father both worked.
Okay.
My wife stays at home.
Yeah, so yeah,
But
more
if my
power to
wife
you.
chose to
Yeah,
work, if my wife chose to work, I do think she should make as much money for the same role as I got hired for. I'm just saying that there's like my degree is in commercial diving and welding. So like if my wife had a degree in commercial diving and welding, then I think she should start at the same rate and be treated the same. But the field is
definitely,
primarily male dominated.
definitely, I agree.
That's not to
Yeah,
say there's women that do it, but I just think that everybody should be paid the same. And I'm just trying to make a point that there's a lot of jobs that are male dominated and females don't even get a chance in. So like,
no,
yeah,
I
I
agree. That's
disagree that
100% true.
feminism is
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, hiring discrimination is bad, and it seems like we agree on that.
right. Well, I mean, thanks for the dialogue. I'll let somebody else get a chance in here
Yeah,
because I mean, I've already talked enough. You only
yeah,
want
yeah.
one
I
guest on
appreciate
a
you
time.
coming on
Well,
up
you
here.
don't realize this, but you're a feminist yourself, bestie. So welcome to the
Yeah,
club.
seems like it.
I'm not a feminist. I'm an equalist. I want equality
Hmm.
for all.
You
That's
can call it
literally
whatever
what
you want to
feminism
call it. You're a
is.
feminist.
Just
Exactly.
because I want my wife to stay at home, I'm a feminist.
Wait, you will
No,
okay, but that's between you and your wife, right? Like you can be a feminist
Some
and
people
also
think
want
that's
like your
misogynistic.
personal wife to be like staying at home and taking care of the kids. Like that's fine. There's no contradiction there.
You can't let me off the live and say that I'm a feminist and then completely negate the whole point I joined this live. That's screwed up.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
who do
yeah,
you
but
guys
just
think
like
you are?
it seems like you're against patriarchy. So if you're against
No,
patriarchy, you're a
people think
feminist. It's as simple as
people
that.
you're wrong. People think I'm misogynistic just because I'm part of the Mormon Church. People think I'm a misogynist just because my
oh
wife stays
dear.
at home and because I have to do everything for her.
I think
So,
Oh
people
like,
think
dear.
you're a
why are you?
misogynist for other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you're a misogynist because you're trying to
Oh,
tell me what I think. You're wrong. Just
oh
because it's your
dear.
life, you don't get to tell me that I'm a feminist when I joined because I disagree with your question. Like, who do you
I
think you
guess
are
I'm
trying
just
to make
not
me
sure what
look?
you mean by
Who do you
misogynist in
think
this
you are trying to make
context.
me look
Oh,
bad to your viewers? I just tried to
wait, hold
respectfully
on.
answer it, and then you want to continue a fight with me. You want to
Okay.
continue a fight?
All right, James.
Wait, why are
James.
you
All
trying to fight
right.
over the screen?
All right, James. Take some deep breaths, James. It'll be okay. This is why they call her Wheezy. That was crazy. He got so mad.
I did not mean to trigger him. That's crazy.
Make sure you're double tapping on that screen.
Sorry.
Wow.
That's crazy.
He raised like a really good point. It was like super misogynistic of me to tell him what he thinks. The misogyny understander has entered the chat.
That's crazy.
What a guy. What an individual.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's
Make,
actually crazy.
make sure you double tap it on that screen. Let's get to 30K likes. Follow Athena because she's great. And you should also consider following me if you are enjoying the debates. Drop a comment, share it with your friends. And with that, we will go to the next guest.
Tashika just asked if you were punching down. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Is that what I sound like? That's crazy.
No,
How do I
no,
have
you sound
friends?
good.
How do I have friends? It's crazy.
No, that's not what you sound like at all. No. Bearded, how's it going?
How's it going?
How old are you?
I'm 30.
And do you think feminism is bad?
No, I don't. I just I do love your lives. I just had one question about your statistics.
Yeah, what's the question?
I was curious as to how big the pool is that these statistics are drawn from.
For the 30% statistic, I could look into that if you want.
Sure.
Boop, boop, boop. 1,372.
Okay. I mean, I guess I would just prefer that the pool be much bigger, right? Because
That's like a massive sample size in terms of studies. Like, that's a really large sample size.
sure, but in terms to population as a whole, right?
Yeah, but this is just not how studies work, right? So if you get enough of the population, you can make claims about it relative to a specific like confidence interval that you're like 95% confident that these results are accurate or whatever. And that's going to be like mathematically true, but it's just going to come like relative to a specific confidence interval. Like 1,300 people in a sample size, like that's a phenomenally large number of people.
I guess so.
I feel like most studies that I see have like 50 people as like a study or as like a sample size.
Sure. Okay, that's all I needed. That guy was triggered.
Yeah,
Wait,
definitely.
can you make me bigger after like theater drops, please?
Yeah, of course. Sure. What do we got?
Cause one second, bear with me. James, Wheezy needs to laugh to make herself feel
God.
cool when nobody likes her.
Bro, let's all right.
James,
All right, everyone
are you
put
okay? No,
James.
literally, is everything okay at home?
James,
Because
why would you do
you
this
should
to
not
yourself?
be getting this triggered over a simple comment that I made. That's crazy. Psychoanalyzing me because of one comment. You can make me smaller again. I'm sorry. I
Bro,
just had
that's
to.
crazy. That is crazy.
I'm sorry.
Some
I
say
just had
James
to.
is still yelling to this day.
My guy is going around punching walls, Adam Driver in a Marriage Story style, because he got pissed off because of this debate. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, he's like punching walls. Everyone thinks I'm a misogynist because I'm Mormon. Everyone thinks I'm a misogynist because my wife stays at home and raises the kids, he says. Fucking
Yeah.
like
When
making like a
nobody calls
wild
him
attack against you. And using phrases like men and females.
Yeah, a moment of silence for like his Swiss cheese walls. So
That's great. Swiss cheese walls is crazy. All right, make sure you double tap it on that screen. Let's get to 40K likes. Hey, what's up?
Hi
How's it
there.
going?
Hi there. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
I'm great. I actually have a really strong view on this topic. First, I don't know if I should say my name and age, if that's your
Yeah. So what's your name and age?
I'm Donna. I'm 24 years old.
Okay. And do you disagree? Do you think feminism is not good?
I agree and disagree in a sense. So essentially, I used to be a big feminist supporter. Even though I know historically feminism is rooted off, racism, bigotry, a lot of ignorant ideologies. But I would say like feminism at its root value is great. I agree women deserve to be paid equally. But I think that my contention with feminism is it negates transgenderism.
I don't think that's true. I
Here's-
think that.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think that feminists and trans activists share a common enemy. They specifically like the enemy of patriarchy and its tendency towards authoritarian paternalism, like the strict legislation of what people can do based on their gender identities, and what specifically people can like do to their bodies. In general, that there's like just a strong authoritarian overreach that's present in many laws that embodies this like authoritarian paternalism that tries to dictate and restrict people's freedoms unjustly. I think trans activists and feminists share a common enemy in this sense.
I 1,000% agree. I also misspoke when I said transgenderism. My brain is just a little wonky. But here's why I say that feminism undermines transgender like ideology. Because I would say that when one is transgender, we don't have any biological markers to quantify them as transgender. Like, for example, my best friend is a transgender woman, but she has not done any kind of reconstructive surgery. So I would say that, like, for example, if we're speaking on we want gender equality and pay amongst the workforce and hiring discrimination to stop, what is to say that multiple people can claim that they're transgender? For example, let's say we have this legislation that says a company needs to hire 5 men and 5 women, they need to get paid equally. What is to stop in saying that, men who describe themselves as a woman, or men who claim to be transgender that's not transgender would get hired under that company? Then that kind of negates the whole idea of what feminism fights for. Because I think that when you're speaking on feminism, we have to understand gender. And I think that, like, the presence of trans people, which I kind of fight strong for, it kind of does in some sense negate it, because we don't have any markers to say this is one and this is another. So a company can hire, let's just say, 10 biological males who identify themselves as females, and then people who fight for feminist rights would be upset by that.
Yeah, but so there's like a couple things here. The first is just that we have an obligation to respect people's genuine gender identities. We don't have an obligation to respect people if they adopt like a disingenuous gender identity. So, for example, if someone only identifies as a woman when it comes to like the hiring process exclusively, we don't have to respect this person's gender identity. If someone only identifies as a woman when it's like ladies' night at the bar, we don't have to respect this person's gender identity. If someone identifies themselves to be an attack helicopter, they're obviously just making fun of trans people. We don't have to respect this person's gender identity.
Absolutely.
Or like the things that they claim. We have an obligation to respect true and genuine gender identities. So if someone identified as this way just to get hired, then we can root these people out as imposters and eject them like a game of Among Us.
I agree, but I think the problem is very hard to identify that. Like, it's very hard to understand what people's intentions are. So my problem is, like I said, because I recognize anybody respectfully that identifies as a woman, I consider them a woman. I'm a very big trans supporter. I would say that, like, to say that, well, if someone's being disingenuous, we would boot them, that's great ideology, but that's very hard to prove, to be quite honest with you. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that, and knowing that, like, if multiple people come into a workforce trying to take jobs, for that are meant to be equal, and use that as a umbrella term, it kind of negates the whole ideology of feminism. You get what I mean? Maybe I'm explaining this poorly because I'm tired, but I'm just saying that, like, because we recognize that transgender people don't have biological markers that identify them as one or the other, we just consider them what they decide or what they feel or what they are, which I agree with.
Yeah.
We can't necessarily make legislation saying that, a company needs to hire set this and set this, because anybody can fall under that umbrella and then take. Mally, I'm on live. You want food? I'll get you food in the few, okay? Sorry, my little nephew came in, but we can't really determine that. So in doing that, it's like, what is to say that multiple people, like men who are very disingenuous, can come in and use that to undermine your ideology in itself. So I just think it's very controversial, because, like, obviously I would hope people are genuine and people are being hired for the right reasons, but we know that people aren't. So I think that, like, for me to support one, and I know a lot of, because my best friend is trans and she supports feminism, but when we did a deep dive and somebody questioned us about it, we're like, oh crap, like, naturally it does technically go against what it is to be trans. Because if you're going to say that, well, a company needs to hire 5 men and 5 women, and you have a company hire 5 trans men and some are disingenuous, that technically goes against what it is to be feminist. You get what I mean? Maybe I'm explaining this super poorly.
Yeah, so I mean, I already explained that, like, if someone's disingenuous, there's ways to find this out. Like, a disingenuous trans person will not, like, hold their identity in, like, every area of their life. Like, they'll come home and in, like, their personal life, they will no longer be identifying as this thing. I think it's very unlikely that someone would ever, like, disingenuously identify as a gender that they aren't actually, for, like whatever nonsense reasons. I just think that this is unlikely. I also think that, like, this specific line of dialogue is just untrue. Like, people don't do this. No one's going around identifying as, like, a woman disingenuously to like
No,
get
they
ahead
do.
in society or like reap the benefits. Like in fact, being trans is strongly correlated with like hiring discrimination, in fact, with being denied raises, with all sorts of like economic disenfranchisement. In the long run, there is literally nothing to be gained by identifying as trans because trans people are heavily discriminated against economically. It just makes
No,
no sense. There's
I
nothing
agree
to
with
gain and
I,
there's
I
like
agree with
tons to lose.
I 1000% agree with like how it can be very harmful, but it does happen. So we can't
I don't think
negate
it
it completely.
does.
Well, it
Can you
does.
give me an
It
example of like a
does.
trans
So
person who is like disingenuously identified in that way?
well, I actually know somebody who, and this is not my ideology, so please don't try and say that I'm being disingenuous and stuff like that, because that's just ignorant. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. But I do know, because for example, I have somebody that I know personally that thought it would be funny to like go against the trans ideology and pretend to be trans just to see if they can get accepted into the track team in my school. And that was very highly controversial and my school, and this was during my high school era. So I'm not trying to say that most people are going to do this, but I'm saying it does happen, and because that happens, that is harmful to the narrative of what feminism is. So we can't say, well, because I understand that it's very harmful to be trans, and I understand that people pretending to be trans are idiots, but we can't say that just absolutely never happens, when I know an instance where it literally happened. We had a disingenuous person pretend to be trans just so they can get accepted into the girls track team and get a scholarship. It was a whole issue within my school.
Wait,
So
and was it successful? Did they actually get on the track team?
yeah, they did. But where it became problematic is because they were laughing and saying that, like, see, like, I just did this. Like, they admitted that they did this to see if they can get into the track team. Like, it was kind of like done as a joke. And then they got caught and it became such a controversial thing.
Yeah,
But
so after they got caught, were they allowed to continue being there?
no, absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Great. So it seems like they actually were in fact not allowed onto the track team.
No,
That
no, no, no. But I'm
but
saying
like
that
so there's like a couple things here. One, they were doing it as a joke. They weren't actually like doing it to try to get ahead. They were just doing it to like fuck with trans people because they're like a terrible person or whatever.
absolutely.
But like this, the second thing is that insofar as we know that this person isn't actually trans, it goes back to my initial first point. We can root out disingenuous trans people if we have good reason to think that someone isn't actually trans, that they're lying about what they identify as or what they understand themselves to be. We can root these people out. In this instance, it sounds like they were doing it as like a little meme. So you can root them out just on those grounds that they're doing it to fuck with trans people or to
Absolutely.
yeah, and in these cases, you can just eject them from the gender identity because they don't actually hold it.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is, from a larger scale, in reality, it's very hard to understand people's genuine intentions. So in this case, obviously, it's a high schooler that, used that as a joke. But I'm speaking on, like, if we're speaking in like the broad sense of reality, I just think it's very problematic to try and root out who's being genuine and who's not. You just don't know, to be quite honest with you.
No, because you can have strong evidence that indicates, like, you should always assume, in the absence of evidence, you should assume people are being genuine with it.
Exactly.
But if you have strong evidence to say that someone is not actually trans, you have no obligation to respect their like gender identity.
I would say
Again, it
what
goes back to like if you only identify as a woman when it's like ladies' night at the bar, if you only identify as a woman during like the hiring process for a job. But of course, like these things are even unlikely because of the massive amount of like just like vitriolic rage that is directed at like trans athletes, the vitriolic rage that's directed towards like trans women in the workplace. There is literally nothing to be gained from actually doing this, from disingenuously identifying in this way, and from like just pretending to be trans. Either you're openly not trans, in which case we can just like eject you from the gender identity, and like we can just get you on out of there, or you pretend to be, but you never actually come out and say that you're being disingenuous in your transness, in which case you're going to live your life pretending to be trans and you're going to face hiring discrimination, which is like a heavy disincentive. So either we eject them, or there is nothing for them to actually gain. So either way, I think that this is like a non-issue that nobody would actually partake in, and if they did in like an openly disingenuous way, we would just eject them from the category.
Yeah, but I think, again, my contention with that is there's no way to really do that. I think we can't say because we feel like you're not openly, because I know, again, like I said, my friend, it took her a while before she decided she wanted to be very public about, her identity. So I would say that and again, a lot of, I don't, it's a very tricky topic, and I'm able to say this because my best friend is trans, and she understands where I'm coming from, and maybe I'm not explaining it right, so I don't want to offend anybody in how I'm speaking, but I just think that it's very hard to determine whether someone's being genuine or not. And I understand your ideology. It's very kind of stupid to try and do that because there's no benefits, statistically in doing that, but I know that it can still be done. And because there's no way to like detect whether someone's being genuine or not, I think that's problematic. And then another thing in regards to my initial root and why I'm anti-feminism, simply its foundations is very historically racist. It's historically problematic to women of color. But I think that the ideology of equal pay amongst women, like feminism intrinsically is very positive. I agree. I think women should be paid. It's kind of like the first host that came here that got very upset that he was a feminist. Like, I don't have a problem saying I'm a feminist. I just think that there's issues within feminism. And the one I pointed out is one of the issues me and my best friend found out. So that's what I wanted to come in here and speak on. But I kind of want to make contention to that person again, too.
Can I say two things,
Yeah,
Donna?
absolutely.
Yeah. So number one, was there a way for you to kind of articulate your argument without having brought up like your friend? Because you realize that when you keep bringing up your friend in a way to kind of back up your argument, that's a form of tokenization.
Not necessarily.
Because
So
you're...
sorry to cut you off. I use an anecdotal experience in regards to explanation because sometimes when I speak generally, I have a group of people assuming that I'm speaking for them. So in situations when you're speaking on topics that you don't identify as, it's like, I'm not a trans. I have to say like, hey, this is where I'm coming from.
Trans person?
Yeah, I'm not a trans person. Well, I say trans, whether I say person, that's just so I don't ever want to say something that's offensive and have people assuming that I'm just speaking for all trans. I'm saying that me and this person had an anecdotal experience together. And because of this experience, we both came up and decided like, hey, this is a problem with feminism. So let's speak on it. So it's not like I'm saying my token, because she's obviously not the only trans friend I have, but it's just me and her together found out that like, oh, technically this does undermine, because we had somebody question that. So I think that a lot of times when you're speaking on those issues, people tend to attack and think that I'm being disingenuous. And it's like, no, I'm not. I had a conversation with my best friend and we decided to like, oh, this is technically a thing that goes against the ideology. So I wanted to speak on it.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. To me personally, the amount of times that you mentioned your friend instead of just kind of like articulating your point and like your
we did this
position.
together. We did. So again, the problem, like I
Yeah,
said,
but your friend isn't here, right? Let's say, for example, if there was, let's say, a white person here and they're talking about their own argument with regards to race or racism, then they keep bringing up the fact that you are their black friend. Oh, I have a black friend who says this, and they continue repeating that 20 times, let's say, for example, right? My question is, you could very clearly have just expressed yourself without necessarily like having to bring up your friend 20 times.
Well, the
Because
reason
it
why
kind of came off as you tokenizing them in a way.
I understand where you're coming from, but the main reason why I did that is when I initially came up here, the first thing I stated was that my own ideology aligned with feminism. And I said it's rooted off of racism and it's rooted off of a lot of problems. Then I said the reason why I have this point that I want to bring up is because me and my best friend, this is the anecdotal experience I brought to you, me and my best friend did research and we're fighting for this, and somebody brought that contention to us. So that's why and I said the main reason why I keep bringing her up is anytime I have my own ideology that does not include my friend, I have a group of people saying, how dare you speak on trans rights when you are not a trans? You have no right to speak on that. Trans person, I keep saying trans, but that's how I speak. Sorry. So that's kind of why I'm constantly, using that ideology, because I don't want, or I say ideology, that's rhetoric, is because I don't want people to attack me for bringing up a issue that me and my friend, we came up, like, we figured this out together. So I'm sorry that I came into your live and just say trans people. Okay, I will say trans people. I'm sorry I came into this live and explained something that me and my best friend saw together. She's just not here with me. If she was here with me, me and her would be,
You don't have
speaking
to
to it together.
apologize. It's just, yeah, it was just kind of like feedback that I wanted to give you. Another part is, I think like when we look at feminism, right, we understand that Western feminism specifically ostracized or kind of isolated any woman who was not rich or white initially because it specifically fought for upper class rich women. But that's not necessarily the case when it comes to like feminism that existed elsewhere. Like, for example, when we look at the African continent, right? Within West Africa, the reason as to why a person like Kwame Nkrumah, who was the prime minister of Ghana, president, I think, of Ghana, when him and the Big Six were leading the liberation movements in Ghana against the UK, one of the main reasons as to why his liberation movement was so successful is because he had gotten support and worked with grassroots feminist movements within Ghana. And those grassroots feminist movements within Ghana, of course, actively fought for all women in Ghana. And so I think like when we're looking at feminism, we tend to look at it from a very, very like Western sense. And we think that Western feminism was universal. When in fact, yes, Western feminism ended up kind of ostracizing or isolating women, whereas other feminisms that existed around the world, especially on the African continent, was kind of represented all women. And I think I'm a Black woman myself, Donna, right? I would say that I'm a womanist and I'm also a feminist. And like it's very important to kind of decentralize Western society and whiteness as well when you're talking about feminism.
And where did the Western society and whiteness come in regards to my topic?
No, when we're talking about feminism in general, you said that you don't like being a feminist or you are anti-feminism because feminism ostracized women, like all women.
So, okay, so let's start.
Wait, did you not say that feminism fought specifically only for a certain type of woman?
No. So initially I came in and I said that I actually was a big feminist supporter. I was pro-feminism, but I said historically feminism has racial undertones. The founder, Margaret Sawyer, who I would
That's my point.
Yeah, so
that's my point. You're centering Western feminism. Because historically, Western feminism is racialized, but not not African feminism, for example. African feminism historically was not racialized. That's my point. Yeah, so that's my point. When we're talking about feminism, and then we say historically feminism is racialized, we're pretending as if Western feminism is universal when it isn't. Not all feminism was racialized. Only Western feminism was.
Yeah, obviously I agree with you. But when I'm speaking on feminism in particular, I'm speaking in the Western like standards. So I think even the host understood that like when I initially came in, I was speaking in the context of feminism rooted by the Western USA. So again, I'm not speaking on, the worldwide, like I understand worldwide feminism is an issue that is deeper than race. But I'm saying that based off the U.S. ideology, feminism was intrinsically racist, and we know that it's founded off racial ideology, and it was not about women's suffrage rights for women of color. It was more so for white women. So that's where my contention. So when I'm saying that where my contention comes from, I'm speaking on that specific notion. Then when I'm speaking on where I had another contention where I'm like, oh, technically the ideology does go against disingenuous trans people, and then I really just want to have an open dialogue on where you guys are coming from. And Ian did a very good job in explaining how not necessarily it's only it's kind of stupid to have the ideology, because that's saying that most people who do that are being disingenuous, and it's we can root those out. But that was the whole purpose of my conversation, is to bring that contention into play, because me and my best friend, and I'm always going to say me and my best friend because this is how we came into this topic, we figured that out. So that was the whole reason why it came up. But when you're trying to speak on feminism as a worldwide issue, that's not what I came in for. I came in regards to the U.S. particularly. That's what
so I understand that. My point is, though, when we are not specifically like adding Western feminism, like Western to that like term, we make it seem as if these issues that you have kind of raised when it comes to feminism are like universal issues, when in fact they aren't. Western feminism specifically neglected like Black women and other women who were not considered white or rich, right? But global feminism didn't. And I think like this is a danger also with regards to like feminist rhetoric as well. When we talk about like, oh, feminism means fought against women staying at home and men going to the workforce. No, which women are you talking about? Because Black women specifically in the West, for example, have always been a part of the workforce, right? So our issues doesn't have to do with us staying home and men going out, because that was never like the dynamic that was implemented within Black communities or Black families, right? So in doing so, we are consistently centering the West and whiteness within our rhetoric. And I'm just trying to tell you, like, when you say things like feminism was racialized without like saying what type of feminism you're talking about, it kind of makes people think, or it kind of like centers Western or white, like Western, a Western or white
Absolutely, but
lens.
again, like I said, I explained that I'm speaking from a
I'm
Western
not attacking you,
perspective.
by the way, Donna. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
attacking
know
you.
what
I'm
you. I
just
completely understand where
addressing
you're
it.
coming
Okay.
from. Yeah, I completely.
Okay,
Again,
that's
like
it.
I said, when
I just wanted to say, I'm not
yeah, when
coming
I'm
at you. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But when I'm speaking on feminism, I'm speaking from a Western standpoint. Because again, we get it. Feminism is a universal issue. But again, every place has its own laws, its own like rules. Feminism will never be viewed equally amongst all nations because every culture practices things differently. So we can't sit here and say, well, all feminine, because it's not necessarily true. Different cultures practice different things. They have different rules. They have different,
And that's my point. I'm just trying to say, like, it would be good to like be more precise with our verbiage
Okay,
and
yeah,
say
I understand where you're
Western
coming from.
feminism
I just
like
assumed that
was
you understand.
racialized.
I understood when I came. I assumed, and I presupposed that when I came in, you guys knew I was speaking specifically about Western, especially when I said the history.
Yeah, although I think it's like a bit confusing because like for me personally, like my feminism is rooted in like socialist feminism, like radical feminism, womanism, intersectional feminism, like things of those strains of philosophy. And I don't think Athena is like a white feminist, so I'm just not sure. Like if your critique is that white feminism is bad, we agree. I'm just not sure what the relevance is.
Well, I wasn't speaking on white feminism is bad. I was speaking on the history of feminism within the Western society and civilization and why I had a contention against it. That's exactly how I came in on here. So it's not about, well, this race feminism is good and this race feminism is bad. I'm speaking on the history of feminism as we see it in the U.S. And as we see it in the U.S., feminism, was based off racist ideology. And I made it
Yes.
very crystal
Yeah, we
clear when I
agree.
said that.
I'm just not
Yeah.
sure. I'm
Yeah,
just not sure what you take that to mean because feminism has come like a very long distance, and we can just say that those feminists are bad.
Yeah, but again, it's like that wasn't that was just kind of like my own experience in regards to my introduction to it and why I think that it was problematic earlier. I'm again, I don't know why we're nitpicking, me not saying Western, but if that's
I'm
what you
not
want me to say on
nitpicking at
this
all.
side, well,
I'm,
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
not
I'm
sure what the
not.
conclusion to take from this is.
Yeah,
well, I think the whole point was just to explain the whole ideology of what I spoke on earlier in terms of trans people and and feminism in that lens. But you kind of explained it very great to me. Weezy just came and brought up the point of that I did not, add Western, and that's harmful to what I'm speaking on.
Yes, it is harmful.
Yeah, which is just
Yes.
the nitpicking part, is what I'm saying.
It's not nitpicking as well. I think it's a part of like decolonial process, right? If we're actively advocating against all these different types of isms, one of the issues is also trying to be like more decolonial with our verbiage. And if we continue pretending and centering whiteness and Western identity and a Western lens within our verbiage, we're not actively decolonizing society,
Get it,
right?
but that's
So
not
I'm
my
not
point.
nitpicking. I think it's
But
Donna.
I think
I'm
you
not.
were. I think you were because I didn't come in
I
with
don't
that
think so at
point.
No,
all.
But the reason why I say
no.
that is when I came in with a point, I came in a point in regards to me specific. Like I came with an anecdotal experience about why my personal reasoning why I'm against it, and it's based and it's rooted off Western ideologies. And I made it as clear as day for that. So it's like if someone's speaking on slavery based off what happened in the U.S., they're going to speak on what happened. Obviously, slavery is a universal thing, but if they're going to make an explanation on why they're against it, they have every right to say, hey, based off my personal experience being in the U.S., this is why I don't like this. So when I I came in here, I told you, I said my issue with the feminist ideology is rooted based off its racism and its history based off what happened in the U.S. Weezy went ahead and said, well, you can't say that because feminism in its root is a universal topic, which I recognize and I understand. But I didn't come in speaking on that. I came in to tell you why I personally have issues with it. And my issues are rooted based off what feminism was in the place I stay in. That's what I was saying. But that wasn't even the like, we're just going to go on a circular argument. I really don't want that. Ian, I think you did a very good job in explaining to me why my ideology can be considered flawed. And I'm very grateful for that. I thank you. And that's that.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're being defensive again. I was very clear and said I was not coming at you. I feel like you're kind of missing my point, Donna.
If you were,
when you came up, when excuse me?
I think you were, because I think that, like, if
No, I
come
wasn't.
in and I'm very specific about why I'm speaking on what I'm speaking on, and then you randomly come in and say, well, Donna, what you're speaking on is problematic, when I made it clear that what I'm speaking on is mainly an issue that it's like, it's a personal thing that I've experienced within the U.S. Well, not I, but historically my family have experienced within the U.S. That's like, I don't know what more you want me to say.
No,
Like,
I was not coming at you. Let me be very, very clear. I was not coming at you from the beginning. I said the whole point was when you were talking about feminism, you did not specify Western feminism or U.S. feminism. You just said feminism was very racialized at its root. And when, you know what? It's okay. Forget it. It's not even important.
Okay. Well, again, like I said, I definitely did come in and state that what Weezy stated. I definitely came and stated that. But as I said, beforehand, I was speaking primarily on the U.S. And I already said that I meant to speak on the U.S. I understand where Weezy was coming from, but I feel like this is the third time she said, well, this is problematic. And it's like, I heard you the first time, and then you're saying it again and again. So to me, it's like, okay, now you're nitpicking what I'm saying, because this is the third time she's described it and said, well, this is problematic. When it's like, okay, the first time I
did
came
not say problematic at one.
well,
Like
obviously you didn't say problematic, but I'm saying the way you're approaching it is coming across that way. But either way, it's fine. This is just becoming circular. But alrighty, Ian, you can take me off.
Yep. Thanks so much for coming up. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. I can only imagine why she was like praising towards me and like unhappy with you. I can only my brain can only fill in the gaps. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 50K likes. We're almost there. Athena, I think you did a phenomenal job explaining your position. I think you were 100% correct. But share the live with your friends. Drop a comment as well. And if you're 18 or older, consider joining the Discord. Link in bio. I would love to see you there. How you feeling, Athena? How you doing?
No, I'm cool. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that does suck though. No, I don't know. I thought you were doing like a perfectly good job of explaining everything. Yeah, is James still here? That's an important consideration. Yeah. I wonder, hey James, if you're still here, please identify yourself so we can draw conclusions. Oh, James is still here. What are you doing, James? Hopefully you're learning something. I'll give him like the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully James is like learning something. All right, let's try to find another guest. If you're struggling to join the Discord, you might need to join it via a web browser. I've been told the link doesn't always work. So just go to tiktok.com and go to allegedly.ian, and then you can join it that way. You should also definitely all be following Athena because she is great and very educational. And every time she talks, you will learn something new, I promise. Athena is very good at explaining things and has like a massive knowledge base. You should definitely be following Athena if you're not already. All right, let's try to find a guest. That would be nice. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Griff? Are you there? Griff? Okay. We're probably in like a pocket or something. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, hello? Can you hear me?
I can. How old are you?
17.
Oh, you gotta be 18 or older in order to join.
Hey, fuck
Sorry.
women, they're gay. Fuck faggots. Fuck faggots.
Oh yeah. Least hateful anti-feminist, by the way.
Never heard that slur before. Why are people so creative when they slur other people? Like,
Yeah.
can I just say, like, if you're going to slur people, like, at least, like, keep us on, like, our toes a bit. Like, be creative with, like, your bigotry. Like, where's your chutzpah? Because at this point, it's, like, very boring. We're kind
Yeah.
of
Wow.
used to...
The F slur. Whoa, I've never been called that before.
Exactly never heard that word before.
Every gun I've made so far, I don't.
Hey, what's up? Wait, how's it going? What's up? What's going on, Yuki?
Which even without it, I can still control.
Okay.
Like the ACR has no.
I'm very sorry to interfere with your conversation, Yuki. I'm never gonna find another guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, hey, I'm not going to disagree or say feminism, but I'm just trying to get Weezy historical context because she said universal feminism, you can't describe it by what happened in the United States, which is true, but is she saying that universal feminism has always been good? Because I'm a little bit, confused about that.
What do you mean by universal? Wait,
That's
Athena,
what
have you been saying universal feminism? Or have I just been missing it?
Yeah,
I thought Athena was just talking about like non-Western feminism.
Yes, I did not say universal feminism. I said when we center white feminism, we pretend as if it is universal when it isn't.
Okay, so are you saying that women have had pretty much almost the same rights as men throughout the world? I'm just trying to get an understanding.
No. I'm just saying that there were different feminist movements outside of the West. Like, for example, when we look at the example of Ghana, right? And Kwame Nkrumah and the Ghana liberation fight in the 50s and 60s, the Big Six and Kwame Nkrumah ended up getting like a lot of help from grassroots feminist movements that were also advocating for women's rights within that colonial, like anti-colonial struggle. So feminism has always existed even outside of the West, with women from different countries and regions advocating for their own equal rights as well. So them advocating for their own equal rights just means that they were not treated with equal, like they didn't experience equality, which is why those movements even existed in the first place.
Okay, so you're saying how they've always been advocating it for, like in Asia and South America. Okay, even though we know that they did not get, some of them still don't have those rights, but you're saying that historically they have been advocating for those all over the world. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, what I'm saying is basically that women globally did not need Western women to tell them that they need to advocate for themselves, that they've been advocating for themselves for centuries. Even on the African continent, for example, African feminism has always existed, even if they didn't explicitly call it feminism, let's say, for example. But they still were always explicitly advocating for their own rights within African societies.
I got you. And the problem you had that she was looking at it from a historical
Western lens,
Western American critique of feminism. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Yeah, I see. That makes a lot of sense.
So my issue was when we were saying feminism was racialized, as in it focused only on white women. It was feminism in the West that focused predominantly on white women. But feminism on the African continent, for example, was not racialized. But when we are saying feminism focused on white women, we're kind of making it seem and pretending as if Western feminism was the center of the universe. Like we're centering the West again, when we don't need to center the West if we want to like decolonize our verbiage.
Okay, I got you. So you're going back to that whole aspect of whiteness superiority in the context of anything.
Exactly. We need to decenter whiteness and we need to decenter the West.
Deal with the issue as what it is instead of in the context of whiteness and superiority.
Exactly.
And if there was no white suffrage movement, then there would be no feminism, and you said deconstruct that because that's absolutely false, even though it wasn't described as feminism in these other countries, the continents of Africa or Asia.
Yeah.
I,
That those
I
women
got
were fighting without even the suffragette movement. Yes.
I got you. Yep, that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, I just want to get a clear understanding. Hopefully that that you understood what I was asking as well. So thank you for that, Wiz. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ian, for this conversation as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I
thanks so
appreciate
much.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you for coming up and asking.
Yeah, those are some great questions. I
Yeah, I
appreciate you
like
coming on up
Ian.
here.
I like Ian. Ian, this is Sydney. You know the honest
Yeah, of
theist.
course. No, I remember you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And Weezy, thank you so much. And you did a real excellent job. Unfortunately, there's a miscommunication. Seems like it's talking past each other. And I think she just got a little bit defensive. But you did a great job. And Ian, thank you as well.
Yeah, thanks so
I
much. I think she
appreciate
got a little
you.
bit
Thank you
defensive
so
as
much.
well. But thanks so much for coming on up here, and those were some great questions.
right.
W guest in the comments section. I always appreciate it when they come up with some like genuine questions and actually want to learn. You did a great job of explaining that, Athena.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming up and even saying that.
Yeah. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 60K likes. Share it with your friends. Drop a comment as well. It's good for the health of the stream. If you're 18 or older, consider joining the Discord. Link in bio. It's a very active server. I'm personally very active in the server. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want to talk about. There's like a live chat going on in the server right now. It's like talking about the stuff that's going on. There's like a quote channel. It's a lot of fun. The link is broken though, so you might need to access it via a web browser. Go to tiktok.com and allegedly.in. That's my profile, and then you can join it that way. If you're not able to join it via the app, I would love to see each and every one of you there. I also notify everyone every single time that I'm live, so you'll never miss a live because you'll always be notified. Consider joining, and also be sure that you're dropping a follow to me and Athena. Athena's great. You will always learn stuff from Athena. I don't know. Athena is a gem. You should definitely be following her if you're not already.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good. I don't disagree with you. I just have a question.
Yeah, what's the question?
So, what type of feminism would you reject? Like the more extreme versions of feminism?
The only types of feminism that I reject are like white feminism and liberal feminism. And I reject like turfism as well, but if that's even considered feminism is like a completely separate question.
Well, like an example I want to bring up is like I see some women who claim to be feminist, right? But they have like the base moral of wanting more rights for women, but they also do stuff like hate on men, stuff like that.
Hate on men in what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, for my example, they basically try to demote or say, oh, women should be in control of everything, men should not exist, things like that.
I'm not really sure that these are real people. I don't think these people exist anywhere other than like the internet, to be quite honest.
Oh yeah, I've debated a few of them, that's why I just asked.
Yeah, I think that this is like an extreme fringe. Obviously, I think that like a hatred for men as a group is like a very anti-intersectional thing to believe, that this like collapses the nuance of the trauma that like black men or trans men or disabled men, the things that these people face on a daily basis. I don't know, like I think it's unproductive. That would be my like general critique. So I don't know, like I would disavow anyone who was like unironically saying things of that nature. I don't think it's very productive.
Yeah. Also, you said you reject white feminism. I know nothing about like the specifics of that, but why?
Yeah, so just like feminism that centers white women as like the focus of their movement, that says that we need rights for white women, and the question of whether like women of color get rights is like completely beyond the scope, and they don't really care.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on up here.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 60K likes, and with that, we'll go to the next guest.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? It's good to talk to you again.
Hey, good seeing you too. I've got kind of a long prompt here. Something that kind of happened in my hometown.
Wait, but do you disagree with the feminism is good?
I think that certain aspects of the movement, like I think as a whole, like there's like good things about it, but I also think there's bad things about it.
What would the bad things be?
Well, okay, so kind of like the last guest that you just had on, you were kind of condemning some of the extremists. And so I kind of have like a controversial thing that happened in my hometown. Are you familiar with Movember?
Is that about like men's mental health?
Yeah, it's like men's mental health and also like T cancer. If you get what I'm saying, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
So we had events all October for breast cancer awareness, and when Movember came around, we had like a run kind of thing, and it was like a donation thing. And then we had a group of feminists that came to the run, and they were trying to say that we were belittling the month of October. You know how that's dedicated towards breast cancer awareness and whatnot. Do you guys think that Movember kind of belittles Breast Cancer Awareness Month in a way?
So me personally, I hate compartmentalizing any part of your movement or any part of your advocacy to a specific time. I think the idea that certain things should only be advocated for at certain times of the year is like really stupid. You should be advocating for all the issues you believe in at every point in the year. I think like confining these to a specific week or a specific day or a specific month is like just terribly unproductive. So I don't know. I'm just like kind of anti most of these months in the first place. I think that these issues should be advocated for just always, basically. That if our understanding is that these months are like a time when we just need to advocate for this, I think that that's going to be dumb because we should just always be advocating for it.
Sure, but do you think that Movember kind of, you know, in a way kind of trumps breast cancer awareness? Because statistically it doesn't, but some feminists believe that it does. I
don't know why anyone would believe that. I'm not sure. But I think an important thing to note about this is that many men's issues get co-opted by like men's rights activists, so-called, who don't actually care about any of this and just care about like shitting on feminists. So I don't know, like I understand the resistance. Whenever someone describes themselves as like a men's rights activist, I fully understand like the resistance that these people get because they're not actually men's rights activists. They just don't like feminists.
Huh. Okay. I see what you're saying here. All right, I want to do, I don't have a lot of time here, but I do have another question. So yeah. One aspect of the feminist movement that I do not agree with, and in utmost respect for anyone, I'm really not trying to disrespect anyone, but I don't understand feminism supporting trans women.
So yeah, the struggles of trans women and cis women are heavily intertwined, specifically in regards to the way that authoritarian paternalism tries to control their bodies. That the one of the prevalent ideologies in our society is the idea that specific people's ability to live in their gender identity or express themselves in specific ways or have control over their bodies, that these things are challenged. And I think that trans people and women share a common struggle in that sense, and especially trans women share like a common struggle in that sense. The other factor is going to be that misogyny results largely from, or that transphobia results largely from misogyny. That most misogyny, or in the specific instance against trans women, most trans misogyny or all trans misogyny is going to be a result of misogyny. Just like the hatred of trans women that stems from them giving up their societal role and not fulfilling the things that they're expected to fulfill based off of their biology. That it's one common struggle, and that anyone who seeks to exclude trans people from the struggle of feminism are going to doom their movement and are, I don't know, just like deeply unproductive in addition to being transphobic.
Okay, I have a quick question and then a follow-up question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
In feminism, well, actually, first, is sex and gender different?
Yep,
and
they are.
If so, which one's more important?
I don't know what that question means.
Like which one's more
This is like
important?
asking like which one's more important, like race or gender. Like I don't know. They're both very important.
But they're totally different. So like
Yeah, they are different, but I couldn't say which one's more important. I think the struggles are unified. That's just intersectional.
okay. All right. Well, then I guess I don't really have a follow-up question. I'm trying my hardest to be respectful. So
Yeah,
sorry
no,
if
I think you were
one.
like you were perfectly respectful.
Oh, okay, awesome. We'll let someone else get up here and ask some questions. Thank you so much, Ian.
Yep.
Louise,
Yeah.
have a good one. Peace.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 70K likes. Share it with your friends. Drop a comment as well, so you can get the live in front of more people. Consider joining the Discord as well. There's a link in my bio. I would absolutely love to see you there if you're 18 or older. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really and truly, genuinely, whatever you want to talk about. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Follow Athena as well, because Athena is very knowledgeable, and you will learn a lot from Athena. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Not much. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Do you disagree? Do you think feminism is not good?
I just want you to clarify, Ian. What you said, transphobia is interrelated with misogyny?
Yep, that's correct.
What's the proof for that?
Yeah, so it's just going to be that transphobia is largely rooted, transphobia against trans women specifically, is largely going to be rooted in the idea of trans misogyny, that this hatred for trans women is going to stem from the fact that they're not fulfilling the role that society expects them to fill. That we have these gender roles and that trans women are expected to fulfill like the male gender role. And this is ultimately just going to be a result, like these gender roles in the first place are going to be a result of things like misogyny at all.
So nothing of factual evidence, just opinions?
It's philosophy, right? Like, I don't know, like you can look to the way that trans women specifically are persecuted for trying to, like the dominant narratives surrounding like trans people and their unalivings are going to be rooted in narratives of them being like imposters or them like never being
now
like
we're
a
using
real
the
X,
word
Y, or Z.
persecuted or prosecuted?
Persecuted.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. How long are you going to use those words for? Like
until they're no longer true is how long I'm going to use those words for.
Yeah. So, all right. That's interesting. Yeah, I love the appeal to emotion here. It's definitely different, but I get it. You know.
Okay.
That's what
do you
activism
want to
is.
make like a real argument, or?
I did make a real argument because you know
Yeah.
I based it in objective reality. Like you base things off of emotion.
You haven't made an argument. I'm not
But
sure
neither
what
have
thing
you.
I've
You're-
based
you're
off
basing
of.
your
I'm not
answers
sure
off
what
of
thing I've based off
emotion.
of emotion.
Because I asked for a source. Is there any proof of transphobia being rooted in misogyny?
Well, this
And
is
you
obviously just going to
based
be
it
like a
off of an
philosophical
opinion.
question. Like, how would you? What scientific study could you even possibly conduct? I'm just saying that with the understanding,
polling
if
and
you proceed with
surveys?
this understanding and look through the world in this lens, everything seems to line up. That this seems to be like a worldview that maps onto reality pretty well. There's no way to like empirically test this. I mean, I suppose we could do tests on the relation between people feeling a strong sense of misogyny and them feeling like a strong sense of transphobia. There would probably be like a lot of overlap there. I'm just not sure what
Biological
study
male cannot
specifically
feel
you'd be looking
misogyny,
for.
Ian. How can a
What?
biological male feel misogyny?
Yeah, because so I don't think that them being like a biological male is going to determine whether or not they feel misogyny. And so far as misogyny is just going to be like an attack or like hatred towards women based on the like the characteristics associated with women. Like attacking a woman because she's a woman, that's going to be misogyny. So I'd say that one, trans women are women, and that two, people attack them for being women all of the time. A trans woman who passes really well, for example, is going to experience lots of misogyny.
That they don't experience misogyny.
But they do.
They don't. You have no proof of that, Ian.
Yeah, I do. So under my definition, of course, that like trans women
See,
are.
It's your opinion.
Yeah, so you can look
I
to
rest
like
my
the
case, Ian.
fetishization and like the mass
You can move.
unaliving
You can
of-
move to the next guess. It's just your
Okay,
opinion.
so it
That's
seems
all
like
is.
it seems like you didn't have much of an argument, but that's fine. I'll move on to the next guest. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Wow, these people are tedious. That's crazy. But double tap on that screen. Let's get to 70K. Yeah, we do have a runner. That's true. Thanks so much for the gifts, by the way. I appreciate all of you. Hey, what's
Yo.
up, guys? How's it going? How you doing?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Uh-huh. And do you disagree? Do you think feminism is not good?
No, but kinda, yeah. I just come up with a question right here. In what way would feminism be good in today's society?
Yep. So patriarchy exists. This is just going to be a system that constructs men as a whole as dominant and superior to women as a whole, and this can be seen in like the societal biases and attitudes towards men and women, that men are expected to be dominant and evaluated as more dominant, and like preferred in hiring positions and things of that nature, etc. And feminism is just going to be a political philosophical framework for the dismantling of the patriarchy. So insofar as patriarchy exists, patriarchy is bad, and feminism dismantles patriarchy, then I would say that feminism is good.
Yeah, I get that, but what is feminists? What are they fighting for in today's society? I see a lot of women say, "We need more rights. We need more rights for this." Can you name like 10 rights that men
You
has?
want 10 rights? Yeah, I can give you 10 rights.
You can even try to name one.
Or like, yeah, I don't know. I can name like as many as I can think of. So
okay,
I don't know. I like to divide them into like three main categories. Sorry. Three main categories. So the first is that there's like widespread economic discrimination against women. According to the University of Barcelona, women are I did it again. That's fine. According to the University of Barcelona, women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications for the exact same jobs. And these are wait. Do you want me to name them or wait? If you want me to name 10, like I can try my best to name as many as I can. But I just need to like actually get through them if you want me to name them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind that these jobs are not based on like manual labor. There's like literally no reason why women would be worse at any of the jobs that were applied for than a man would, but yet they were 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications. The second one is just the wage gap. The wage gap exists. It's alive. It's prevalent. Every single statistic shows this, and some people try to excuse this by saying that it's just a difference in career path. But of course, the career path, the way it's paid, and the ones that people are forced into or discouraged from doing are going to be based on society and its norms, that certain people are encouraged or discouraged from pursuing certain career paths. Third, women with children specifically are 8 times less likely to get a promotion than a man with children. In the exact same workplace. So just from those three statistics alone, economic discrimination against women is rampant and absurd. There's also the fact of just like widespread societal bias against women. Half of Americans hold a not a subconscious, a conscious, not a subconscious bias against women. Half of the people, if you ask them like a survey question or survey questions about bias against women, they would literally admit to being biased on a survey against women. There's also the fact that women are seen as worse leaders, despite the fact that there's study after study that shows that women actually make better leaders. Or at least they make exactly the same leaders. Misogyny is very prevalent, and the specific attitudes towards women are also very prevalent.
Yeah. So the first answer you gave, that really depends on the workplace. If they already discriminate you when you get to the workplace, that might not be the best job to work at. You should try to seek another job. I live in Sweden, by the way. Here we got most. Sorry, my English is pretty bad, and it's pretty late for me in Sweden right now.
Can you get closer to your microphone?
Here in Sweden, we got pretty much the same rights for everyone.
Can you get a little bit closer to your microphone, please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Here in Sweden, we got the exact same rights for everyone. Doesn't matter where we come from. Doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. And there's still lots of women in Sweden that are feminists. And every time I've asked them what they're fighting for, they won't answer because they don't got an answer. But you gave pretty good answers, and I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. So that's all I have to say, and I hope you have a great day, man.
Yeah, I hope you have a great day as well. All right, thanks so much for coming on up here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, Athena?
Yeah, I was, but I was just gonna say that like gender-based discrimination still exists within Sweden.
Yeah.
Like we need to stop romanticizing like Scandinavian countries as if they're like these beacon of, I don't know, like advancement and equality, when in fact gender-based discrimination does exist within Sweden. It also does exist within Europe as well.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've had people tell me that, like, well, you know, it's just so egalitarian in Sweden, and in the Scandinavian countries, and I don't know. I don't think that's true. I don't think that there's like any society on the planet right now, or at least I don't know of one, that is like egalitarian. So, yeah, like hiring discrimination still happens there. I would need to be given like a source that says that it doesn't.
Yeah, and also gender-based violence exists as well, which is still a huge
Can I
issue.
ask you a question?
Sure.
No.
Wait, how old are you? And I'm sorry, Athena, if bringing the
I'm
guest up
20.
like interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So what's the question?
My question is, are you willing to die for your wife?
Am I willing to die for my wife? I don't have a wife.
Yes. No, if you did. If you
If I
did have
did,
one.
would I be willing to die for my wife? Depends on the circumstance.
Well, as a true man, you should be willing to die for your wife and lay your fleshful desires aside.
So okay, wait. So let's say that the police show up at your door and your wife is about to get busted for having like 16 terabytes of like child porn on her laptop, and she's like she's cocking up
That's a
the
different
glizzy,
situation.
and
That's a different
she's like
situation.
bringing
You've
it
been
up,
feeding
and
off
she's
of
like, yeah,
emotion.
honey, come help me defend my like stash of child porn. Are you willing to
No,
or are
that's a
you willing
different
to are you willing to
situation.
die? Are you willing to die
If
for your
she's
wife in
being
this
held at
situation?
gunpoint, are you willing to
Are
take your life for her? As
yeah,
a true man, you should
probably.
be
Like
willing.
like generally, yeah,
Exactly. This
probably. But
proves
I'm saying
enough
it's going
that
to be
you're
like
a prick.
situational, right? Like there's
You're a prick.
situations where I'd die for my wife. There's situations where I wouldn't die for my wife.
Hear me out. What about Asian women and white men? Asian
What
women
the
are making more money
fuck?
than white men.
What are you talking about?
They are.
What are you talking about?
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm so sorry. I almost choked out my lungs. What, like, coughed out my lungs. What about white men and Asian women? What?
What
was the point
yeah,
you're
what
trying to
about them?
Asian women are making more than white men. Why is that? And you
Asian
support
Oh,
feminism.
I thought you were going like the fetishization route. That's
Well,
interesting.
low-key is fetishization. Wait, can you provide like a source for that Asian women are specifically making more
If you
money
look
than
at
men?
the statistics, they are coming here, immigrating, and they're making more money than white men. They're
Yeah, because do you know how much money it takes to fucking immigrate here?
No, but that's specifically, I don't know if that's specifically for Asian women though, and just Asian people in general.
But still, you're proving a point. You're proving
Wait,
a
this
point.
is like just like okay, wait,
You're
to be
living
clear,
off of
to be clear, just like
I'm not
hyperfixating on like
emotional,
one
yeah.
group and saying like,
Yeah.
well, I guess there's like no discrimination. Like, I'd also agree that rich women make more than poor men. Like, what's your point?
Yeah, but also like I'm literally not being emotional. I feel dead inside because of
Wait,
your
did
arguments. So
did,
yeah.
did you accuse her of being emotional? What the fuck?
He did. He said I was being emotional.
Oh my god, dude's a loser.
He did. Yeah.
You couldn't
So
you couldn't prove a point to the
can
guy.
can you provide a source for that though? Because again, it depends also which Asian community you're talking about, right? Are you talking about East Asians? Are you talking about Burmese people? Are you talking about people from Laos as
Why
well?
do you
Because
want
not
this
all
specific
Asians.
group? I'm just
Yes,
saying in
because not
general.
all
Look at the
Asians.
top.
Wait, depending on when said Asian people moved over to the U.S.,
Hear me
depending on
out.
which wave you're
Top
specifically talking about.
10%. Look at your
Some
top
people,
10%
for example, I do not know
in
why. I do
colleges
not know why your sentences
and in
continue
high
to get in the middle
schools.
of mine, right? So I'm gonna finish my point at this time, Praise, and then you can respond to me, okay? Cool. So depending on when exactly which Asian person came over, which Asian community came over, not all of them have money. For example, if you're talking about East Asian community, specifically Japanese, Korean people as well, they most likely come over with money because they apply for immigration. But when you talk about let's say people from Burma or people from Laos or people from Vietnam, they didn't necessarily come over through those means, but instead as refugees, right? During the wars that existed there. So again, not all Asian people are going to be rich. So which Asian people are you talking about? And can you provide
I'm not
statistics for
saying that
that
they.
sources?
I'm not saying that they come over rich. I say they build up their wealth, and we see the top 10% within the high schools and the colleges. Tell me what's wrong with that? They're
Wait, can
taking
you?
away our top 10%.
What's your specific source for this? And like, I don't even know what your specific claim is.
Okay, here an example. The town I live in, a lot of the Indians are taking over the top 10%, and they're moving over as immigrants, having barely nothing, and their parents are not letting them have a child life growing up, and they're working, and they're trying to fund the money to their family members across the country.
So immigrants don't move over to the US or the West in general without any money. That's a misconception, right? If you're talking about refugees, yes, asylum seekers might be disproportionately affected with like having no money. But immigrants in general actually move over to the West with money. Why? For example, when they're applying for a visa, they would have to show their bank statement. They would have to prove that they're able to provide for themselves for months on end. So this idea that immigrants move over to like the US or the West in general with just like $5 in their pockets, that's just like a misconception. So those people you're talking about, most likely, especially if they came from India, most likely moved over to the West or the US in your case with money.
No, you can see them work it up, and they're getting the 10%.
Sure. So give us the source
and they're
then. Let's hear it.
naturally smarter.
Give us the source then.
Wait,
Let's
wait,
hear it.
wait, hold on.
Now,
I'm
wait,
so
now,
sorry.
oh yeah, now I missed that. Naturally
Did you say
smarter? What the
naturally
fuck?
smarter? How is a person naturally smarter? Can you?
They're training their brain through traits over time, not getting a childhood, having books on books on books on books. And most of them are making the top 10%, and they're stealing the Americans people 10%. The Americans.
Wait, oh, you almost said natives. You almost said natives. That would have been funny. Yeah.
Wait, but if they're actively studying in order to be smart, that's not naturally smart though. They're not born that way.
And hear me out.
Okay, wait. Let me. I choose violence. What race is the smartest race naturally?
Out of statistics, there's none. Some are learned traits.
Okay.
It just depends. Okay.
Okay. So then don't say that Asians are naturally smart because it just doesn't make sense.
But what are you trying to get out of saying feminism is good? And
I'm trying to get more people to be
sense.
feminists. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're not going to convert me. But okay.
Well, you haven't been able to present an argument. I have no idea what your argument, your like proto like race realism has anything to do with feminism at all. Do you have a critique of feminism?
Well, the thing is, you want all equal rights, right? Some of that is already happening within society.
And do you
today.
think that's good or bad?
That is good.
So it sounds like feminism is good then, because feminism is responsible in many
But I
cases
think
for
the
more
man should
equal
be
rights.
the caregiver within the household.
Yeah, I think whoever wants to be the caregiver should be the caregiver.
I think the men should help fund the family, and
I think whoever wants to help fund the
woman is
family should fund the family.
Why are you saying that?
Because whoever's better is the person who should do it. Like the person who is better and wants to do it should probably do it. It's just gonna come down to like personal
women are
preferences.
naturally
It's like a
better at
negotiation. I don't think
caregiving than
that's true
men.
at all. I think women are socialized to be caregivers. I don't think that they're like naturally these like phenomenal caregivers. I think that they're just socialized to.
Okay. In the society, would parents ever trust a guy to babysit their kids?
Sure, it depends
Answer
on the guy.
that question.
Depends on the guy.
Depends on the guy. Never seen it. Pull up stats.
Wait, what do you mean? Like it depends on the guy? Like, yeah, I got babysat by guys all the time. What?
I never seen a guy babysit. So
I've
the
never seen the
stereotype
country
is-
of Australia.
I've also
What?
never seen brains. I don't know if it exists or not. But again, why do you think society as a whole thinks that women are better caregivers and therefore would want women to be a caregiver or a nanny instead of
Because
like
it's their
men.
natural intentions. They love to give onto their child that they have given birth to.
Can you tell me like a specific gene or like how am I, for
I
example,
haven't
more
traced the gene. I'm
biologically
not a
wired?
scientist.
How
I'm
am
not a
how am I, for
scientist.
example, how am I, for example, more biologically wired to be a caregiver than Ian, let's say?
Because you have the gene that gives birth to the child.
The gene that gives birth to the child.
Like, to naturally give birth. The woman naturally gives birth to the kids.
What does this have to do with anything? We're specifically asking about like caretaking. So, do you think like adoption is bad?
Do I think adoption is bad? No.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So it seems
But I
like
think the system is
even if you
corrupt.
personally don't birth the child, you can still take care of them.
I understand not everyone can personally birth the child, but what are we looking within the society? We are looking for men to be the head of the household and women to
That's
take
not
care
what
of
I'm
the
looking
children.
for.
What are you looking for?
I'm
To be
looking
a
for people to
prick and
do
not be as strong within the household?
for them to choose for themselves. People in relationships should figure out on their own who they want working, who they want like raising kids if they have kids, or if they even want kids at all in the first place. This is a negotiation that happens within each individual relationship, and it should come down to who is qualified to do it and who like wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, I just Googled the birth gene and nothing came up. So can you kind of like help me there? Because my womanly brains are not like grasping what you're saying.
I
So
can't
what
laugh
is
at that. No one in the comments. If you are a man, you can't laugh at that in the comments. Only women can laugh at that.
So like what is the birth gene? Can you please explain that one to me?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you said that women have the birth gene somehow. So but what is a birth gene?
Their mind naturally cares for the kid that they're giving birth to. Hear me out. It's between men and a woman, right? And they're called to reproduce. And the woman naturally, biologically gives birth. You
What
guys
if the
feed off of
parents are two
emotionalism.
men?
I'm gone. I'm gone.
Oh,
You
bro's
guys
a
know?
runner. Bro got blown the fuck out. Damn. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet. Bro is on his way. He's running.
I'm sorry. That was such dude bro biology. What's the birth gene? I can't.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wow, you don't know what the birth gene is?
No, I don't. The birthing gene. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's just
I'm
never
sad that
mind.
they left. Also, I was sent like a photo of what they look like.
Yeah?
I'm not gonna-
Yeah, wait, do you want me to make you
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna show it. I'm not. Don't make me bigger.
Yeah, okay.
I'll send it to you though.
Yeah. Send it to me on Discord. Let's see it. I have ideas in my mind what this person looks like, but let's see it.
Don't thank me though. Thank Kiara. Also, the fuck Jamal for Athena Moan is crazy.
That's so wild. That's rancid. You gotta change your name.
Wait, hold on. Where are you? There you are. Hold on.
Yeah, make sure you double tap it on that screen. Let's get to 80k likes. We're almost there. Follow Athena. Don't let her be subjected to this for no reason. You should give a follow to her. No shot. There's no way this guy thinks he's superior to anyone. No shot. Oh my god. Bro, how do you make like Prax Ben look like even whiter and nerdier? That's crazy. Nah, wait, I'll drop it in the Discord in case anyone wants to join the Discord. Yeah, it's like great promotion in case anyone wants to know what this person looks like. There's a link in my bio if you want to know. Join the Discord. I'll drop it in the live chat channel.
Oh gosh. Oh dear. Whew. Wait, I
Yeah,
don't
there
think
it
you have
is.
any more requests.
Bro, can you
Did you
imagine
post
looking like
it?
that? For those of us in the Discord, can you imagine looking like that and thinking that you're superior to literally anyone?
Not me getting messages from different people asking asking me if I could send them a photo. That's crazy. Hold
Damn. No, everyone in the Discord is just jealous that they're not as alpha as this guy.
on.
The birth gene, someone says, that's crazy. Make sure you're double tapping on the screen. Consider joining the Discord if you haven't already. Only join if you're 18 or older, though. That's the contention. It's an 18 or older Discord server, but you should consider joining because it's like really funny.
Okay, and that will be 10K to my PayPal Shaquille O'Neal, please, Ian, because of me now, a lot of people are going to be joining your Discord. So
Yeah, a lot of people are joining the Discord. Yeah. No, this guy looks mad funny, but that's okay. All right. Make sure you're double tapping on the screen. Let's get to 80K likes. You should consider joining the Discord. Drop a follow to me and Athena. Thanks so much, Athena, for the wonderful image. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Bro, that's crazy.
wait, hold on, is Kiara in the chat?
Let's check. Let's
In
find.
the requests?
No, not that I see.
Okay, thank you.
Hey Ian, how's it going?
Doing good, doing good. How you doing?
Good, good. I didn't come up per se to debate you, but I just wanted to mention, based on what the previous guest was saying, they were using the model minority fallacy. Essentially, I myself am an Indian immigrant, but if you go to India and look at the general population there, they're not doing great. And if you were to take a sample size from there rather than a very biased sample size of Indian immigrants in your country, that's just not a fair comparison to compare. It's like you're biasly selecting for people who meet certain education requirements, that meet certain professional aptitude requirements. So it's just not a fair comparison.
No, definitely. And I think that this is just like really obvious because like most of the time when I encounter someone who's like an Asian immigrant, like they have like a PhD or something, like they're a doctor. These aren't people who like, it's not cheap to come to America, especially from a place like Asia. Like if someone's coming here from Asia, they probably have like a good amount of money. Very often, although that's not always the case, of course, but
right. Like even for Indian immigrants that come to Canada or America, their parents are typically like, even if they're farmers, they own a bunch of land, which is quite valuable. They will be like selling their land, selling their equipment to get their kids an education right out of the gate. You're already selecting for a person with a degree versus the general pop, which includes people who didn't even graduate high school, for example. Right? The opportunities are just not going to be equivalent. And a lot of the immigrants are coming on job offers. They're literally coming because they've been offered a job, and that all immediately selects for a higher paid individual as well. So it's just
definitely. Yeah, no, that's like really important to bring up. I'm probably going to move on to the next debate,
Yeah,
but everyone
no worries.
should.
Thanks for having me up. Take care.
Yeah, everyone should follow the guest. But yeah, thanks so much for coming up. All right, make sure you're double tapping on that screen, and let's go to the next guest.
I'm back, faggots.
Oh, creative. Still just as creative as before. That's crazy.
Yo,
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
good. I was just here for Athena. She asked if I was there, and yeah, I have to take credit for the picture because I'm really fast. When somebody's like that intelligent, I usually check their profile
Yeah,
very quickly. Quick with the screenshots. But yeah, that's just in case anybody's curious. That's what a PhD in biology looks like.
Oh my gosh. Hallo, Liebe.
Hello, mein Schatz. You have to verify me, Athena. I can't access a lot of Discord channels and.
Oh, you need roles
server.
in the Discord. If you can't access the Discord, you just need to select some roles. You need to go to your role select, and you gotta pick the adult. Everyone should be picking the adult option because everyone joining should be 18 or older. But you gotta select adult and then select pronouns. If you're
Don't say
goth, you should
that.
select the goth role, but not if you're not goth. It's deceptive, but.
What if I'm a former goth? Does that still count?
It's self ID. If you think
Okay.
goth is like an accurate descriptor for you, then you can pick the goth role. If not,
So real. Retired goth is its own category for sure. Yeah, I won't crowd up your panel. I know you're already taking care of it. So
no, you're doing good.
all right, take care.
Yeah, Imp insists that you become goth again, but yeah. Thanks so much for coming on up here, and thanks so much for the photo. Bringing endless entertainment to everyone interested.
Kumalala, sabes está. Oh, no, sabes está. Fuck you.
Okay.
What was he saying?
I have no idea. Not a clue.
What language was that?
No idea.
Fascinating.
I wish I knew.
I feel like a slur is coming, not gonna lie.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Oh, you foresaw.
That was very premature.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, good. Look, I didn't pop into debate much, but I did pop in to say that I think it's really pathetic that that last guest, when he left, the guy, obviously English wasn't his first language. He was struggling to explain himself and struggling with words. And you guys are now judging him on a photo of his physical appearance and spreading it all over the internet. I think that is the most lowest, disgusting thing I've seen on here. And you guys want to pull your heads in because that's not right.
Oh,
English
I don't
was
really
his
care,
first
but do you
language.
have like a real argument?
Yeah, and English was his first language, by the way.
Okay, still no reason to judge a guy on his looks.
Oh yeah, well I think it's fine to judge misogynists on their looks. I don't know, it's funny. I think the joy experienced by everyone in my Discord server massively outweighs the pain that this guy might experience by knowing that everyone is laughing at him.
Yeah, okay, so you support bullying.
Unironically, yes, in some cases.
Yeah, okay.
It depends on the person. Some people deserve it. But do you have like an argument? Do you want to make an argument?
Yeah, sure. All right, this equal pay thing that you're talking about and equal rights for jobs. I think jobs should be obtained based purely on qualifications. The best person for the job should get the job. I think all this nonsense now about quotas, where you have to employ a certain amount of females to a certain amount of males to a certain amount of immigrants, that's all crap. That's just Western world rubbish. The right person for the job, the most highly qualified, should get the job.
Yeah, but let's just like collapse the scope of this discussion a little bit. So if that's the case, then it sounds like you'd be a feminist because women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications for jobs that are not based on like physical strength or anything of that sort. If you took like a nursing job, for example, women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man who has the exact same qualifications.
For nursing, I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, so it's like nursing. Nursing is just one example. It's like nursing, like engineering, management, jobs of this sort. Women are much less likely. Like every job that was applied to, women were less likely to be hired in that job. Men were always more likely to be hired.
Could I suggest that there's another reason behind that? Possibly is the fact that women don't tend to stick at careers as long. They're generally. They'll go to school or university, they'll get a job for a few years, they'll get a boyfriend, settle down, have children. So they're not reliable to keep as a long-term employee because they're going to have kids, leave work, maybe after a couple of kids come back, work for a while, have another kid. So that could sway the decision-making for employers.
But that just sounds like a justification for hiring discrimination. Like you're just saying that hiring discrimination is good because like people should be profiling women.
Well, it's not discrimination. It's the person that's most suitable for the job. And if you're looking for an employee to come and work for you and you're going to invest time and money into training them, the last thing you want for them to do is leave in a year or two because they've decided to have kids.
Yeah, do you think it's like misogynistic at all to just assume that every woman you hire is gonna fucking leave and have kids? Don't you think that's like a little bit of a fucked up assumption?
No, I think it's a practical assumption. It's real life.
Oh, so it just sounds like you're giving a justification for like profiling.
Well, it's not it's a fact. You're not
It's not a
employing
fact. You
somebody to make
should
their
evaluate employees as they are. It's possible that like the guy you hire is gonna quit and like raise children.
Yes, but if you look at statistics, generally men don't drop in and out of the workforce throughout their working life where women do. So
Do you think that we should be judging people based on aggregate statistics?
Of course.
Okay. So like if we took like a person of color, do you think that we should be like assessing them and assessing who they're going to be based off of like weird statistics?
What weird statistics?
I don't know, like, so for example, there's like a crime disparity largely because of like socioeconomic factors.
Yeah.
So would you just like assume that they're a criminal based off of like their skin color?
I would assume there's more chance that they'll be a criminal, and that's an assumption based off statistics.
Well, that's really weird.
Why?
What's this assumption?
I don't know. That's like just racist saying that like so you're saying that like when you see a black person, you just assume that they're like more race or like more likely to be a criminal.
That's what the statistics say. Yes.
Maybe you could just like take them as an individual. It's like super weird.
Why is it weird to follow statistics?
Yeah, because you should just take them as like an individual, like making like negative assumptions about people based off of the categories that they reside in.
You're always every time you get a guest on, you want their sources and you want statistics on what they're talking about. Now you're saying just go ahead and ignore the statistics because they don't suit your agenda.
Yeah. So it's just that statistics shouldn't define the way that you treat individuals. That you shouldn't be treating people based off, like in a certain way, based off of the statistics that surround like the category as a whole.
That's your opinion.
Well, otherwise it's like racist or sexist.
No, it's just based on statistics.
Yeah.
You can leave race and sex out of it completely.
So it's using statistics towards like a sexist end is what you're doing.
No, I'm just using.
Do you think hiring discrimination
the right
based off
person
of
for the
sex?
job.
Do you think hiring discrimination based on sex is sexist?
Not necessarily. No, it can be just based on.
Not necessarily.
Picking the right person for the job, the best person for the job.
Not necessarily. So you don't think hiring discrimination based on sex is necessarily sexist, really?
Well, have a look how it worked out for Biden with his hiring. You've got to give so many jobs to different people. And he got that,
what a bunch of
he got
fucking
that
word
friggin'
salad.
freak and put him in charge of nuclear weapons or something. And the guy got caught.
Complete fucking gibberish. I have no idea what you're
The
talking
guy
about.
got caught 2 weeks later stealing baggage.
Word salad.
An airport
Incomprehensible. May God have mercy on your wretched soul.
Are you just going to deny the fact?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're like pivoting to like a pet issue. No one cares.
Do your research.
Yeah. Hey, how about you stick with the topic at hand? So I just want to be clear. So you think that hiring discrimination based off of sex is not always sexist?
No.
Okay. So
it's based off the most suitable person for the job.
Yeah, but this is not you. So when you like look at someone's application and hire women 30% less, this is not you looking at them and hiring the most suitable person. This is you looking at them and making a lot of assumptions about them based off of their gender.
Well, a lot of jobs aren't suitable for women.
Yeah, but so the 30%
How many women bricklayers do you know?
the 30% statistic comes from jobs that are not manual labor based.
There's probably more men looking for jobs.
No, because it was controlled. They sent the exact same number of applications to each job.
What was your source?
Yeah, so the source is the University of Barcelona.
What's Barcelona got to do with America?
They're both Western societies. Can you give me a meaningful distinction?
They're very different societies, completely. Have you ever been to Barcelona?
Yeah, that's cool. And Arkansas is very different than like California.
Have you ever been to Barcelona? Have you ever been out of America?
Relevant. I'm not sure why me being to Barcelona is an attack on the credibility of the fucking University of Barcelona. What?
It's very relevant if you understand the cultural differences of other countries.
So what's the relevant cultural difference? Could you prove to me these relevant cultural differences?
I've been to Barcelona.
How long were you there for?
Have you been to Barcelona?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there for 2 years.
How long were you there for?
2 years.
Okay. Yeah, so you should have no problem providing us.
My point is, it's very different culturally.
You should have no problem providing us a statistic that says that they're uniquely more misogynistic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They are.
Yeah, so send one over then.
Why? Send it where?
So just like tell us what it is. Just like, give us a source that says that Barcelona is like radically more misogynistic than America is.
The source is my 2 years experience living there.
Yeah, so that's an anecdote. So there's a double bind, right? Either your anecdote is representative of a larger series of data, in which case you should have no problem providing us a study, or your anecdote is not indicative of a larger pattern, in which case I don't care.
I've also lived in Mexico, and
I don't care.
I know you don't care because you don't like to look at real world values because you're just a little pup straight out of school that hasn't really lived in the real world.
Damn, bro's getting personal. I don't really care about this. So do you have like a real argument, or do you have a real source saying that there is a relevant distinction between these two places?
My experience living in those countries.
No, it's an anecdote. You know what the difference between anecdotes and data is?
It's not an anecdote at all. It's
you don't think it's
wait?
So you're citing your own personal experience, but you don't think it's an anecdote? Do you know what
I think you'll find.
Could you define the word anecdote for me?
I think you'll find.
Could you define the word anecdote for me?
Can I define it?
Yeah.
No.
Like explain what it is.
Anecdote is like using something, using a small piece for an example of something larger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is your personal 2 years in Spain that only applies to you? Why is this not an anecdote?
I'm amazed you find it hard to understand that living in a certain culture, you can get a feel for what that culture is like. And
yeah, but why is that not an anecdote is the question.
What you will find is in most Spanish countries.
Why is that not an anecdote is the question.
Why is any studying not an anecdote then?
Because they use data, because it's not restricted to just one person's personal experience, it's the experience of however many people in the sample size.
This is my experience of the thousands of people I've met in those countries.
Yeah, so could you provide me a study? If there's thousands of people who have the exact same experience, would you mind providing me a study?
I'd never did a study on it.
Yeah, you don't need to do a study on it. Other people may have or may not have, so I'm just asking you.
Okay, again, as I said, you're a little pup straight out of university with no real world experience.
Yeah, it's the pivot to ad homs, yeah.
So,
bro lost the argument so hard he needs to go after like my age or whatever.
No, I'm
in Barcelona, you did not necessarily experience misogyny, nor did you experience like the patriarchy, right? Because you still lived and experienced life as a man within Barcelona.
Yeah, so and the men there are a lot more misogynistic than they are in America.
Your anecdotal experience here is going to be very different than a woman's anecdotal experience as well.
Yes.
Also, you don't have to like resort to ad homs when you came up here to complain about us resorting to ad homs. It's kind of
I came up to complain about you guys picking on that other guy's personal features and posting.
And now you're picking on my age, about it. So it seems like you support bullying as well. Based W bullying.
How was I bullying? I was just saying you aren't
you called me a little pup who's fresh out of university.
Isn't that a fact?
I think little pup is a bit condescending, don't you think?
Well, you kind of look like a puppy.
What the fuck does that even mean? Little bro, you need to get clearer on your
No, you'd be
explanations
like
and
one
your
of those little
insults.
puppies that everyone wants to pat on the head.
He means that Ian is incredibly pretty and
Aw.
incredibly handsome, like
That's
a puppy.
what I'm saying.
W Ian's puppy face. That's what he means. So we love people who compliment other people.
Thank you, Wendy.
W Ian's handsome and pretty face.
I'm flattered. Thank you so much.
Now, look, the point I'm trying to get across is you do pick up on other cultures when you live in another country. I don't have statistics, I don't have studies, but you pick up what a culture's like. And most of the Spanish cultures, the men are very misogynistic. They're very down on their women. They're very overpowering. That's just the people they are. It's their culture. So that's why I'm saying that your Barcelona study is probably not very representative of America. Purely that. And hopefully you can understand that. Your guests maybe agree or disagree. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, absent a source, I just can't like make a statement on this.
I would say men of all cultures are misogynistic.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course they are, but
in those cultures as well, because again, patriarchal and sexist attitudes are not necessarily unique. I know what you're talking about with regards to, let's say, Hispanic countries, right? Not necessarily Spanish, like Spaniard from Spain, but let's say Latin American countries, which kind of promote machismo.
Yes.
That's not what you're talking about there. But again, all other cultures promote
Oh, and
very
thanks so much for the
similar.
subscription. I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Similar,
Athena,
like,
please continue.
no, it's okay. So when we look at all other cultures as well, men of other cultures are also uphold the patriarchy, uphold misogyny, uphold sexism as well, which is precisely
of course
why
they do.
feminism is also a global movement.
yeah, look, I agree with you. You're going to find misogyny everywhere, but some of and you were right, sorry, I forgot what did you say instead of Spanish?
Oh, you mean Hispanic?
Sorry, yes, that's the word. Yeah, you're right. That's a much better word for it. But yeah, just traditionally those countries seem to accept misogyny a lot more. And then I've never been there, but of course you've got some of the places in the Eastern world, the Arabic countries where women are just absolutely downtrodden. They take it to a whole new extreme. But
Yeah, but misogyny is going to be true everywhere, right? Like this.
yeah,
like,
it is. But I'm saying you can't compare one. If you do have a certain race or a certain, your example from Barcelona doesn't necessarily mean that America is going to be the same. And I just don't believe it is. So that was all I was saying is I think you should try and find an American study to back you up.
But they're both like Western societies, right? They're going to be very similar.
No, they're not very similar. That's my point is that I know for a fact myself, I've got nothing to back it up except my own experience, but they're not similar.
Oh, and thanks so much for this.
But also as a person who has lived in like an Arab country, for example, I have lived in Saudi Arabia myself. As a person who can also speak Arabic, I can tell you that women are downtrodden globally. Like as a person who is well traveled, I've traveled to multiple areas as well. I've lived in multiple areas as well. Women in general globally are downtrodden. This attempt at trying to make it seem as if somehow women are uniquely downtrodden in the global south in comparison to the global north is again looking at things from a very Western colonial perspective, trying to demonize the global south while trying to somehow make it seem as if the global north is spearheading some like modern advancement movement or like the modern advancement of society when in fact
Thanks so much for the subscription. I appreciate it.
gender-based violence is a huge issue within the West as well that is largely left unaddressed. Gender discrimination is a huge issue as well. and women are generally just downtrodden globally, and this attempt
they are.
to try to
They
make
are.
it seem
But-
as if it's a uniquely global South issue, in a way, also demonizes the global South.
But compared to Iran or Iraq, those sort of places, like, we don't take our women out to the market square and stone them to death because we caught them cheating. We don't beat them with sticks out the front of the house because they did something that we don't like.
Yeah, you just beat them with sticks inside the house. I'm sorry, like women
Yeah.
just get beat up inside
Yeah,
the
some
house.
people-
There's gendered violence.
some people
and
do, of
I
course.
have, as a person who has lived in Saudi Arabia, and I've lived a significant amount of my life within Saudi Arabia, even though I am from the West, I've personally never seen a woman get stoned outside because
No, I think I think where you were is probably one of the better parts of those countries, but certainly.
Saudi Arabia is considered a very strict country in comparison to other Arab countries. Saudi Arabia is one of the most strict,
Yeah, I think if you went to Iran or Iraq somewhere, you'd find a different experience. But I'm hypothesising there because I haven't been there, so I can't really speak on it. I can only speak on what I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I appreciate.
I'll drop out. Thanks for the chat.
Yep, thanks for the chat. I appreciate you. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 100K likes. We're almost there. Follow Athena. Athena's been great. Drop a follow to me if you're enjoying the debate so far. Consider joining the Discord. We turned the one guy into an emote in the Discord. It's the emote marked as misogynist. So if you want to use his face as like a reaction to stuff or just like a fun emote, maybe we'll add it to the chat. Or I don't think I can. I think it would violate TOS if I added it to the TikTok chat. But anyway, no, it's like a really funny emote. So make sure you join the Discord. Link in bio. Yeah, WIMP for sure.
Can I say it was so funny? Somebody in the comments said he ran because that guy said I ran.
That's really funny. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Lily?
Hello.
How old are you?
Wait, sorry, I accidentally
Lily,
pressed the join thing.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right, let's find someone. Let's find some ops. You should definitely be gifting Athena if you're not already. No, I don't know. I have very high praise for Athena. She's really great. You'll learn a lot of stuff from her. You should definitely consider doing it. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hello.
Hey, how old are you?
I am 30 years old.
And fuck, I almost asked you what God you believe in. Do you think do you agree that feminism is bad?
So look, I think that modern feminism is like murky waters. I wouldn't say it's completely bad, but I do disagree. I don't think that modern feminism is perfect, and I lean towards it being bad for sure. I think
Okay, so what do you mean by modern feminism, and why would you say that it's bad?
Modern feminism. I mean, I've kind of been in and out of the live, but just hearing some of the arguments, it's like, some of it be like when the other gentleman was talking, like, okay, that's anecdotal, like when he went to Spanish countries or whatever, and then Miss Wheezy, right? When you start talking about, like it's everywhere, it's women are treated bad, like why is that not anecdotal,
Because this is going to be based on studies. That there's like studies done by the UN, for example, that assesses the gender biases, the conscious gender biases present in every single society. And there is a large portion of the population in every single society who would consciously admit to holding a gender bias. Like, for example, in the United States, it's like 50%. And of course, like the United States is even on the better side. For other countries, it just gets higher.
Right. No, I'm saying when Wheezy was saying, like I'm well traveled and I went here and I went there and women are oppressed everywhere, whatever, right? Like, do you guys think that women are oppressed in the United States?
Definitely, yeah.
And you think they're oppressed in what way?
Yeah, so there's like the economic argument that I've been making that 30% less likely to be hired. The wage gap is, I think, like, is it like 77 cents to the dollar for white women specifically? And then there's like women are 8 times less likely to be given a promotion when they have a kid than a man who also has a kid. Like, women economically are screwed over at every opportunity. They're not taken very seriously economically, and they're confined to specific roles that result in them having much less economic power.
Do you think because I was again, I was in and out, and I was hearing some of the like, would you hire a woman over a man or whatever, like I heard some of the argument, and I just think it's like okay, Ian, how old are you?
I'm 23.
You're 23. Okay. So have you ever owned a business or hired anyone, had anybody like employed anyone, even if it's 1099 work? Like, have you ever
No,
hired
I haven't, but I just don't think that there's like, I don't think that this is going to be like a life experience difference. Like, I think that no matter if I had hired people, I would still probably want men and women to be hired at the exact same rate if they have the same qualifications. If men and women are equally qualified for the same job, then they should be hired at like roughly the same rate. Thanks so
Right,
much for the
so
subscription. I appreciate it.
right, so that's where we disagree. The first thing you said, I think based on experience, right? Like on paper, it sounds like accurate, right? Like they should be hired the same or whatever. But when you take even just like like physical prowess, right? Like if okay, so I have a production company, right? If I'm gonna hire somebody for the position of like a grip, right? Like more than most likely, I'm gonna hire a man over a woman, and I know it. Like before we start losing our heads here, it's more so like the reason why I ask if you've ever done it is because when like you're taking a risk on like you're paying someone to do something, right? So you would use your best judgment, and it's not just. And best judgment doesn't mean just on paper, right? Like, and I'll pivot to like when I was in the
Wait,
military, right?
let's
Like,
no. Let's stick with this. So first of all, like no one's gonna lose their head, but the study, the 30% study, doesn't take into account like none of the jobs that were applied for that this analyzed were jobs that require like physical labor or the capacity to do physical labor. This is just going to be an irrelevant point. It's 30% disparity in jobs where there is literally no reason why either gender would be better or worse at this job.
okay, so but do you think that okay, that's the whatever study that you're talking about. I'm saying overall, like real life. Hey, this is what I like. Uh, if okay, for example, right, same topic, but military, right? I'm in the military. I have guys and I knew guys who were on paper fucking studs, right? Excuse my language. Like super studs. And you know, they're ranking up, and everything on paper looks great. They even have some college education, and on paper they look like Captain America. But then in person, like they just don't have they don't have that same leadership. And it's a lot of it is just, okay, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to argue that study or whatever. I wasn't there. I don't know how it was taken or recorded or whatever, but I'm just saying like, the argument that I'm making is let's not, um, like blind ourselves or not trust our own eyes and our own ears. Like you can go off of any study and you can live your life just based off of studies, but at the same time, like when are you gonna start like have you like life experience, bro? And I say this respectfully, right? Like when I was younger, I used to think a lot like of the ideas that you believe. I used to it was weird being a 21-year-old from California, which is more leftist than and joining the military, which is more majority, and I was in the infantry as well, so more a majority of men are far right, you get me, like super
Sure.
patriotic, etc., and it was weird like being from California growing up. I'm Hispanic, right? Like,
Mhm.
and then you know like oppression between like with blacks and whatever and Hispanics and you
Black
know
people?
and or
Yeah, black people.
black people, yes, blacks,
No,
browns,
black people.
black people, brown people, white people, whatever, like not
Mhm.
fitting in as much. If I offended anyone, I didn't mean to. Um, but like to live life just based off of anecdotal, like just studies or whatever, like after you live, like, okay.
Wait. That's like, this is like I just want to respond to this. And I'm sorry if you don't like studies, but the fact of the matter is that there's a double bind. Either the study is or either your anecdotal experience is representative of the truth, in which case providing a study for that fact should be no problem to you whatsoever, or your anecdotal experience is not indicative of the truth, in which case I don't care.
Okay, so you just live life based off of studies?
Yeah, whenever I can, I try to base my life and live it like effectively. I don't just want to like willy-nilly try to do whatever, like form my worldview based off of my personal experience. I'm going to form it based off of like the actual prevalence of studies and data that so for example, like I've never experienced misogyny, but just because I've never experienced it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And like the studies are very clear about that.
No, I agree with that as well. But I'm saying, like, I think we're on the same page in that what you just said. But at the same time, like, yeah, studies are cool, but once you start living a little more life and getting a little older and traveling, and I grew up in Mexico, California, and then I was in the military, did one tour in Afghanistan, lived in the East Coast, lived in the South, and then you just see different cultures and the way the way everyone carries themselves in just different situations. You kind of start to realize, you start making your own opinions. I'm not. The last thing I'll say before I get out of here is just cool. Read all the studies you want, but I think the more life you live, the more you start seeing things from different perspectives. Like Miss Wheezy said, when you travel, you experience different things, and you see things from different perspectives, other than just. And I don't mean this offensively. I mean this respectfully. Like you sound like you went to college, like a college. Caucasian male, like you start seeing things from different perspectives of not just people that are just college students from the United States, and you start seeing different cultures, and then you start seeing why people act the way they do. I would just say that's all I would say. Cool, studies are cool, but I think you can't just ignore life experience.
No, I can and I will if there's not a study to back it up.
I mean, go ahead, that's cool. But anyway, that's where I'll leave it. Studies are cool. Live in your bucks. Be safe. Respectfully. Love the live. It's cool. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
yeah, thanks for coming on up here, I guess. Yo, Athena, are you doing well, or do you want to...
Yeah.
It's like totally okay if you gotta step away.
It's okay.
Okay. Whatever you're comfortable with, but make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 100K likes. If you're not familiar with what's going on in Rafa right now, you should probably familiarize yourself. There's like breaking news in relation to it. But we will keep the debates going. So drop a follow to me, drop a follow to Athena. And if you're 18 or older, consider joining the Discord. And with that, we will go to the next guest.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. How old are you?
I'm trans age.
You're trans age.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm trans age. I identify as 33. Waka
go.
waka.
Yeah.
So like, but how old are you really?
47.
Okay. Yeah. And do you disagree? Do you think feminism is not good?
I think that feminism is good, but everything has a bad side to it. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
Okay. Do you believe that women have a choice?
A choice in what?
Stay at home or go to work?
Yeah, although societal factors are going to pressure them in certain directions, women are discouraged from being in the workforce, either via like the barriers they face in college or the barriers they face in the hiring process. There's just going to be like lots of things that are going to try to encourage women to go on like a certain route. So, I mean, like kind of yes and kind of no.
So, two famous feminists had a debate. Okay, Betty Friedan and Simone de Beauvoir. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know who Simone de Beauvoir is.
So Betty Friedan said that women should have a choice. Okay. Simone de Beauvoir countered that with, No, they should not have a choice, right? Because given the choice, most women will stay at home. And it's not until they're forced out of their homes to work that they will really be free. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. What do you like? Is there like a question attached to this? Or
Oh,
I'm
there
not
is.
really sure
So
your
which
point
side
is.
of that? Which side of that feminism do you adhere to?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm anti-choice feminist or feminism. I don't think that liberation comes just via choices. I think choices is a thing that will occur after patriarchy is gone. That there will be more choices when there's no longer patriarchy. But I do not think that choices in and of themselves are going to be the thing that gets us out of patriarchy.
Okay, all right, it's interesting. So my next question, I was listening to what you were saying before. Can you give an example? Because I'm really struggling with this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
A company that is hiring people and dictating different rates for male and females for the same job.
Yeah.
Can you name a company that does that?
Yeah, so I think Athena named earlier the police force, that the police force pays women less for the exact same position than a man.
For which police force is that?
Wait, Athena, do you are you
I've
able
never
to
seen it.
say what police force this was? Do you remember?
Oh, it's within the U.S. Like specifically nationally law enforcement within America.
Right,
On
but
average,
is it
that female law enforcements were paid less than male law enforcements.
Is it in the same jurisdiction though?
On average, yes, when they
Because this
control
is where
those
the problem
factors.
happens, right? You'll have two companies, right? The statistics will say that women and men are paid differently. But the way they work the statistics out is completely wrong. Yeah? Because
Wait, in what way? So I think there's a couple things to consider, right? That women are forced out of these fields in the first place. So the wage gap is going to exist because yes, people do pay men and women like more or less on like an individual company level, but two, the jobs and positions that women get into in the first place, there's like massive discrimination that women are 30% less likely to be hired than a man with identical qualifications. That's going to keep them out of the workplace in many cases. And also that women are discouraged from pursuing fields like STEM because they're not given encouragement or reassurance about their performance in these fields in the same way that men are, and they're encouraged to drop out of these fields. That's going to be another barrier that causes a lot of women to end up in non-technical fields, which would contribute to it. So no matter what the result is, it's still ultimately going to come back to a patriarchal society.
okay, yeah. But my question at the moment is strictly on just the payment side of it, right? Because what they're saying, the argument is that women get paid less than men, right?
Yes. On average, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, but hang on. The companies that I'm looking at, none of them say men get paid this, women get paid that. Everybody gets paid the same rate.
Yeah, because that would be like super illegal if they came out and like literally said it.
Right.
Like typically the way that this happens is that they pay them less just based because like the amount that someone gets paid is going to be based on like just like a subjective decision via a manager or like a boss or whatever. That it's just going to come out of their own subjectivity. So they don't need to come out and say that like, hey, we're going to pay women less to know that they are in fact paying women less.
Right. Okay. But you can have one company, let's say a supermarket A and supermarket B, right? Supermarket A could pay $10, right?
Mm-hmm.
For men and women, and supermarket B might spend $11. Yeah?
Sure. So $10 for men and then $11. Or wait. I'm sorry. Can you give the example of the numbers one more time?
So the first company A will pay their staff $10 for checkout. Yeah.
Yep.
So company B will pay their staff $10. Yeah.
Sure.
So there's a $1 difference. Okay.
I thought I heard $10 for both.
No. So just say one's 11, one's 10.
Sure. So the first one's 11, second one's 10. Sure.
Yeah. Right. So here's the thing, though, right? Company A has, say, 100 men and 75 women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Company B has 50 men and 300 women. Yeah?
Yep.
Which is not unheard of. Now, if you work out the statistics on that, it'll work out that men are getting paid more than women. Yeah?
Okay.
And that's where the statistics go wrong. It's not the fact that men and women are getting paid more or less.
I'm sorry, do you have evidence for your methodology, or is that just your own logical reasoning? I just want to make
The
sure that...
methodology is out there.
Okay,
right?
so you don't have like an actual methodology of how you're coming to that conclusion, right?
The conclusion is out there. You can look at the maths. The maths don't lie.
Well, I'm just asking you like your methodology, like how you come to
No,
that
I don't
conclusion.
have
And
a
that's like
strategy
you
or
just your
anything
own
like that.
reasoning. I was just clarifying. That's okay.
It's my own reasoning and it's common
Uh-huh.
sense maths,
Okay,
right?
so yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying-
I vehemently disagree, but that's okay. We can talk about that in a second.
What they do, right, is they take the average of both companies, yeah, men and women, and they work it out and say, oh, women are getting paid less.
No, like that's usually not how it's analyzed. Like when we look at like systemic differences in pay, there's like a couple like factors that need to be considered why there's like a disparity between men and women. Firstly, like we would look at like job opportunities. So we would see that is there like a systemic reason behind why the women were hired at company B that pays less versus like company A that would pay more. So that would be like the first reason that we would look at. Furthermore, we would look at like the hiring opportunities and the promotion opportunities, which we can see, and I can provide you studies with that. Men usually on average have like a higher chance of getting promoted. Secondly, we see that the punishment for the same mistakes usually apply to women harsher. I also have a study for that. So the growth opportunities are therefore stunned with that instance too. And then it's just the overall like perception of like men and women, like the social attitudes behind it. So men are usually perceived more valuable within a company. Therefore, they're given like more opportunities as well. So those are like an accumulation of systemic issues that are not only like seen within like economical structures, but also social structures that are then affecting like the wage gap between men and women. And I could name like a couple more, but I think that's like the one that we would mostly like discuss in the sense of equal position plus like equal pay.
Okay. But I don't disagree with what you just said, right? And there are stuff in there that needs to be looked at. And personally, I believe that people should be employed on whether they're best candidate for the job rather than their sex, their race, or whatever.
Yeah, we all agree. Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's the problem though. Like we see that the systemic like it is systemically affected by the social attitudes of the patriarchy and how men perceive women. If we see that men hold like the predominant power within a capitalistic society, like they hold more capital, they're going to assume power, and they're going to exert that power by creating like injustices that are very, very much like that could be explained away like how you did it, but are in actuality based in sexism or the patriarchy.
Right, but what I was saying and my argument there, right, is that both men and women in both companies are being paid the same rate.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I just said that the methodology would be, why is company A hiring men on a higher level versus like company B hiring women on a higher level? So that's what we would have to analyze. Like, is it like for some reason that the company that hires like more men than women or has more men employed, like what is the reason for that? And that could be very much, and we see that within the patriarchy, within societies, or within every job field actually, usually has all factors accounted for other than the person's gender. So we can conclude that it's sex-based or gender-based in that sense.
Okay, but then why don't women, right? I mean, I've worked for the police in the UK before, right? And different areas have got different cultures and different people living in there, right? Okay. And this one place, and it was a county called Lincolnshire, which is very rural. Okay, and I'm in the headquarters for the police. And what I've noticed here is there's not one black person working there. Not one.
Okay.
Now, that's not because they're racist. It's because black people just are there. There's A, not enough, and B, they're not applying for the roles.
Oh,
Wait,
so that's fine. But of course,
sorry.
like the rate at which they apply for the roles is going to be determined. So for something like that specifically, This isn't going to generalize onto gender because typically in an area it's going to be a split between men and women. It's going to be like a 50-50 split. But the second reason is that if we apply this to things like STEM fields or other such fields, women are like prevented from actually going into these fields in any like extensive way. We know what the factors and the predictors are of women getting STEM degrees, and it's largely just like being as supportive with them as you are with men. Men are given much more support. They have much more representation in these STEM fields than women do, and that is highly correlated with them actually seeing these degrees through. So if we wanted a more apt analogy, or like if we wanted to fix this problem, we would be more supportive of women in their pursuit in these fields, which means that more women are going to get these degrees, which means that more women are going to apply for these jobs. It's not a lack of a desire to be in these jobs, it's a lack of support that is otherwise given to men.
Okay. Yeah. But then how do we get women to work to apply and go for roles that are traditionally used for men?
We encourage them. We give them more like support and encouragement, the same amount of support and encouragement that we give to men already, that men are already like highly represented in STEM fields, which is one of the predictors of them like staying in. If it turns out if you're supported more and if you are represented more, then you're more likely to stick through the degree. Now, men are already represented and they're already supported. Women are not represented and they are not supported, and then it's like no mystery that they're dropping out of these fields and no longer like completing these degrees at the same rates. So if we wanted to fix that, we would be more supportive and we would have more representation.
May I add also, I would say just like creating like work environments that are conducive for like gender equality. So maybe we need like policies to first de-learn and re-educate like men how to be good peers to women. Because it can be very off-putting if you're trying to be in a field and you're not really taken seriously, and you're also constantly confronted with sexism, SA, which is very prevalent in male-dominated fields. So that's something that men need to deconstruct as well.
But then there's also the side of in certain fields where, I mean, I don't know, construction and that kind of thing, that men would have the advantage, right?
Not necessarily. So if we look actually like I'm just talking like US standards, like I don't know, like the standards in the UK, but OSHA standards put out that you can max lift like 50 pounds by yourself before you have to get some aid. And like the average woman without like any prior training is able to lift like around 70. So women are also capable. And then obviously if you're engaging the muscles more often and if you're training within that field, you're definitely going to be working within that job effectively too. So the standards is often like overblown by men. It is very possible. And we also have the technology nowadays to overcome like any potential strength discrepancies between men and women. It's not relevant enough.
Okay. But how would you get women, right? Traditionally, I don't know how the schools and that work in the States, right? But traditionally in schools and that, women are sort of pushed towards more feminine roles, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, that's like, oh god. Sorry.
How do you stop that and get them to do other roles?
You just stop having like these expectations. You stop like gendering the roles so heavily. It's like the idea that like XYZ is like a thing that men do and ABC is a thing that women do. Instead, you could just say, wow, like anyone of any gender could do these things. You fix this via representation, because like very often it's just going to come down to the fact that like scientists, for example, are often represented as like men. Most of the depictions of scientists that I saw as a kid were men. Like specifically like white men, and it like helps you imagine yourself in a specific role. So if you don't see people who look like you in a specific role, then it's hard to imagine yourself in that role. I think representation goes a really long way in this regard. And then when people actually have this interest should be cultivated. It should be encouraged rather than discouraged. Lots of women in STEM will be told that STEM is like a field that isn't for women, that it's like that maybe they'd be happier in a different field. And that's bullshit. They should be encouraged to the exact same degree that men are encouraged. Could you turn your notifications off as well?
Yeah, I was about to say, but
Yeah.
No idea how to do that.
I completely agree with Ian, and I really want to add, like, I think social changes like are obviously important, but I would like to see like some policy changes as well to like close the gaps a little bit quicker. And I think that policies usually enforce also social changes. Like we can see that within like civil rights in general. Like once people have like enforced policies, the social attitudes usually progress within a little bit faster, as if we don't create any policies for that.
Right. Okay. But that's my question. Is really, I'm going to go because I don't know how to turn these notifications off, and it's going to start annoying people.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you coming on up here, and you had some great questions. Hey, make sure you're double tapping on that screen, but I think I'm going to turn it over to Athena to talk about Rafa a little bit, because there's some like breaking news in Rafa, and it's important that we have like 600 people in here. It's important that y'all hear about it a little bit.
Thank you, Ian, for telling me this. So, for giving me the space to even talk about this. If people don't know, Rafah is the southern part of Gaza, where Palestinians in general in Gaza were told to kind of evacuate to. Rafah was considered kind of like a safe zone, and for the longest time, people or Western governments, which are allies of Israel, had said that Rafah was going to be the red line. So if Israel were to attack Rafah, which again it had sent all those people to, that the West would stop supporting it. Well, as of today, it has consistently been attacking Rafah, but the videos coming out of Rafah right now that I'm kind of like watching are very, very apocalyptic. Up until now, there have been 50 deaths. When it started today, there were tents, and especially an UNRWA tent that was kind of airstriked by Israel. This is what Israel has said, despite the fact that the ICJ had ruled that Israel should not be invading Rafah. They ordered them to leave Rafah because not only has the Israeli military invaded Rafah, it has also taken control over the Rafah crossing, which means Palestinians who are trying to escape to Egypt through the Rafah closing are now closed in as well, because Israel has completely shut it off. So the Israeli military has said, and I quote, the Israeli military says that in short statement that its attacks on Rafah that have left at least 35 dead, mostly women and children, targeted a compound of the T organization, the age group in Rafah, where key Ts of the organization were staying. It said the attacks were conducted in accordance with international law using precise munitions and based on preliminary intelligence indicating the use of the area by H terrorists. The Israeli military also added that it is aware of claims of a fire breaking out in the area housing UN shelters, which led to a number of non-involved people getting injured. This is, of course, not according to international law, because the ICJ had ordered people to leave Rafah. Currently there's footage of apocalyptic footage of everything being on fire in Rafah. There is footage of beheaded babies coming out of Rafah, beheaded babies who were charred because of the fire that is coming out of Rafah. It is a bloodbath. What is currently happening, if you go to Twitter, if you go to Telegram, if you go to Instagram, there are countless videos being uploaded currently, especially by journalists who are on the ground. This has basically effectively made all of Gaza unsafe, and Gazans are not safe anywhere in all of Gaza. And they cannot leave Gaza right now because the Rafah crossing has also been taken over by the Israeli military, the occupation military. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is a genocide, and the Israeli military is actively trying to exterminate Palestinians in Gaza, and then after that they're going to try to go after the West Bank and East Jerusalem as well. I think people need to be paying attention to what's happening currently. I think you need to be pressuring your representatives as well actively to what's happening currently. We are all responsible for what's happening in Rafah, whether it is through your taxpayer money that is going to fund a genocide, whether it is through your complacency as well for not necessarily going to the protests, not necessarily pressing or pressuring your representatives, and not trying to donate as well to multiple charities that are on the ground helping Palestinians as well.
That's actually a good segue, Athena and Ian. I understand.
No, go for it. Go for it.
If you don't know me, I know you don't know me, but I mean, Athena does, and it's totally fine. If I've been fundraising like for a family in Gaza for a couple weeks now with a couple other creators. We were able to raise over $1,200 already for this specific GoFundMe. So if you don't mind, I could introduce it.
Yeah, you can plug it. Definitely go and plug it and explain what it is. Yeah, definitely.
So currently we're trying to help a family in Gaza with 10 children and 3 adults to get over to Egypt. The GoFundMe goal is 40,000, which seems very daunting, but yeah, it is unfortunately very expensive to get the permits, to get medical care, to get food. All of this is very, very, very expensive because Israel is doing anything in their power to prevent any efforts, any humanitarian efforts. I have been giving all my TikTok gifts, so wherever you see me, like goes on any platform, if I'm here with Ian or with Mr. Jones or wherever I am, if you send me a gift, this is going directly to that GoFundMe. So if you don't have any money to spend, but you have a TikTok balance, like a couple coins that you want to send over, I will be donating that. And yeah, so other pay links are obviously going to be put in my bio. You can also follow like other creators that have it in their link tree. And yeah, every single penny is going there, and I will be doing it until they're in safety. So that's the hope of it. And thank you so much for all the gifts. I appreciate it. So far, I was able to raise just with TikTok gifts from my end over $100. So that's very, very awesome.
Yeah, and of course, in case people don't know this, TikTok takes half of all your gifts, and on panels like this, it takes more than half. It takes like 56%. If you want 100% of your gifts going to the cause, and you have the means to do so, you should probably just donate directly. TikTok gifts are like, of course, like appreciated. Like, do it. You definitely should. But it's going to be more efficient if you donate directly to the GoFundMe, just so everyone knows.
Yes, of course. And also don't think that any amount is too small. Like that's why I do give my Cash App and my Venmo and my PayPal available. Because oftentimes in like GoFundMe's, you can donate like specific or smaller amounts, whereas you can in Venmo or Cash App. And I'm totally willing to pay like the transaction fees and like, how do you call it? Like the conversion rates, because it is in pounds, like the person that has organized the GoFundMe. Like I'm willing to do that. So if you have like a couple dollars, like don't think that's too little, like it's going to add up. It does help a lot.
Yeah, and I'll put the GoFundMe in my Discord server as well. After this, I'll add everyone in the server, so in case anyone wants to donate it, wants the link, and you are capable of donating to some of these families to like assist, I'll try to share the link around.
There is also Operation Olive Branch. They also do a lot of fundraising for families, whether it is kind of helping people buy diapers, because we know that there are about 15,000, if I'm not mistaken, pregnant women currently in Gaza. 50,000. Was it 50,000 or 15,000? One of the two. Either way, there are a lot of pregnant women in Gaza right now. There are a lot of people who have newborn children as well. And so Operation Olive Branch tends to help people, not necessarily only evacuate, because again, there is this issue that a lot of Palestinians have raised up, in that kind of paying people to evacuate could also just mean that you're helping the Israeli government ethnically cleanse Palestinians, right? So there are a lot of Palestinians who have chosen to stay there. And the ones who have stayed there are going to also need donations as well. So Operation Olive Branch tends to also not necessarily only help people evacuate, but also helps people who are staying there. PCRF also tends to help people who are staying there. There's just Doctors Without Borders as well does do that. But can I just read off some statistics 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we did get the GoFundMe from Operation Olive Branch. That's why we know it's legit. Unfortunately, a couple people take advantage of those situations. So if you do feel extra generous, go through Operation Olive Branch first. So this is specifically verified by them. So that's how we started fundraising.
Yeah. So to kind of make people understand the urgency of the situation, towards the end of World War II, when unaliving in Auschwitz had been ramped up, 127 children were being unalived a day. Israel today is unaliving between 115 to 139 children every day. More than 20,000 children have been orphaned, to the point where Doctors Without Borders, for example, uses the acronym WCNSF that is specifically created for Gaza, which means Wounded Child, No Surviving Family. Prior to October the 7th, and prior to this bombardment that had started, 80% of Palestinian children in Gaza had experienced higher levels of emotional distress. 79% demonstrated bedwetting, 59% reactive mutism, 59% engaged in self-harm, and 55% of children in Gaza had self-unaliving rates. Currently, more than 85% of the population had been displaced from their homes. So that's a population of 2.2 million people. More than 70% of Gaza's learning sites have been destroyed. Academics have been specifically targeted. So there has been it's scholasticide within Gaza. Miscarriages have surged by 300% among women in Gaza since October the 7th alone. 22 sites of cultural heritage, including museums, archaeological sites, mosques, churches, including the third oldest church in the world, have been airstriked and destroyed. Israel has also targeted the Palace of Justice. It has targeted Gaza Central Archive building that had contained thousands of historical documents and national records dating back to over 100 years, and kind of that formed an essential archive of Palestinian history as well as modern records for Gaza City's urban development. So effectively, Gaza has been carpet bombed, and every single way of Palestinian life has been destroyed within Gaza. This is unprecedented. More journalists have been unalived since October the 7th than were in all years of World War II. This has also been the deadliest conflict for United Nations workers since its inception. This is a G-side. So I think people need to be taking this very, very serious.
I posted the fundraiser in my server. I direct added everyone. If you're interested in joining the server, if you want to donate or find the link. I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your name?
It's Kiara.
Okay, so it's in Kiara's bio, and then direct added everyone in my server. So, I mean, my server's 18 plus, so join it if you are interested in looking for the link. But I'm going to donate to it. I would encourage everyone else to donate to it as well. You should definitely be reading up and sticking with the news for what is happening in Rafah.
Yeah, and can I also say, to help people understand this, maybe if you don't understand, this whole issue, I understand that, Israel tends to always kind of, airstrike places and then say the age group is there. This has nothing to do with the age group. because while Israel is actively also attacking Gaza, it has taken about 2,000 acres of land from the West Bank in March of this year alone. This was the largest land seizure since 1993, since the Oslo Accords. It has also permitted the building of over 1,700 homes in East Jerusalem. You had certain ministers like Smotrich also saying it's not, the hostages are their second priority, and so that they're not their priority basically right now. And so Israel might be lying and saying that it has to do with the age group and them wanting to eradicate the age group, but it is not about that. It's about them wanting to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, because they've been wanting to ethnically cleanse Palestinians for the past 70-something years, and are using this as an excuse to effectively erase Palestinian life and identity from that piece of land because they want to claim it. And not only is Rafah being currently airstriked, but also central Gaza is being airstriked. And there's a lethal massacre that is unfolding against displaced civilians near the UNRWA logistics base in Tal al-Sultan, which is located in the western part of Rafah, where several tents of refugees, mind you, these are refugees, or these are people who are displaced, who fled from other parts of Gaza and were sent to Rafah and are living in tents, and now their tents are being airstriked.
I think they would be the most ineffective military period if it would be about age group. So that's just like propaganda and just creating like the sentiment that all people in Gaza are T words, which they're not. They're children, okay? And also, I also don't even like the word T group, as we can clearly deduct of the reason why they exist is a result of like years and decades of oppression and genocide. So I think every single patriot here in the United States would say they would uprise against such tyranny for the sake of their own government and their own American people. But they're very quick to call brown people the T word. That's all it is.
Fun fact, Nelson Mandela up until 2008 was considered a T by the American government. So even after his presidency, he was still considered a T until 2008. And also, fun fact, the United Nations does not categorize the age group as a T organization. They're still considered a resistance organization. And I'm pretty sure anybody would actively want to resist, even though I might not agree with collective punishment. I will never agree with collective punishment or assault or whatever it is, yet we cannot just sit here and label the whole entity of Palestinian resistance as just T-ism, because it is not. This is kind of like usually a demonization tactic that is used against liberation movements in the global south that try to liberate themselves by any means necessary, which I will never ever disagree with people from the global south, colonized people, which under international law is legal as well, to engage in armed struggle for the means of liberating themselves. But yes, if you support Israel, if you're pro-Israel, if you're pro what the IDF is doing right now, you can go choke on a dick. Respectfully, but also disrespectfully, because this is...
No, disrespectfully. Absolutely disrespectfully.
Yes, because this is a G-side. Like, this is a G-side, and I bet you the same way that when I was sitting at school learning about different G-sides, and I thought to myself, what the fuck were people doing when they let this shit happen? People in the future are going to be reading about this shit, and they're going to say, what the fuck were people doing? Like, what the fuck were people doing allowing 20,000 children to be orphaned within 7 months? Allowing over 35,000 people, which have been identified, by the way, to be unalived. Over 100,000 people within 7 months have either gone missing, injured, or have been unfucking alived. What the fuck are people doing? I am so fucking sorry. We're sitting here focusing on the Met Gala, focusing on Eurovision, focusing on all of these different fucking shit where people are being exterminated. Exterminated. The amount of beheaded babies that I have seen this past 7 months, and people are fucking sitting here talking about October the 7th this, October the 7th that. When we're literally actively seeing babies being fucking beheaded. People carrying their siblings, the limbs of their siblings, in backpacks. Like, I saw a video of a cat feasting on a toddler's baby that was stuck under the rubble. What type of fucking world do we live in when we see footage like that and people sit there like, well, I mean, they deserved it. It's not that important. Let me go and focus on my whatever the fuck Met Gala or whatever the fuck it is. Like, this is, like, if this is not what Hannah Arendt meant when she talked about the banality of evil, this normalization of atrocities, and this pretending as if they're just a part of the landscape, they're like white noise in the background while toddlers are being eaten by cats. I don't know what the fuck it, I don't know. I just don't know. I genuinely don't fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I wish I had more to add to that, but no, I think Athena put it perfectly, and you should be focusing a lot less on like pointless bullshit and focusing a lot more on human rights. What is going on is and has been an ethnic cleansing for a very long time, and it's horrific and leads to some of the worst atrocities and will continue to lead to some of the worst atrocities we have ever seen in the history of humanity.
Yeah, and can I also say, like, just please read a damn book. Like, just read a book, pay attention to what's happening, because anybody in the West, by virtue of you existing within the West, you are actively contributing to whatever is happening in the global South. By virtue of us existing within the West, by the products that we consume, the taxes that we pay, we are actively contributing to the G-side in Gaza, to the G-side in the Congo, to the G-side in Sudan, to the G-side in just globally. We're actively funding this shit. And the moment we realize that, the moment we start actively trying to work against it, that's when we can fix it. But sitting and doing nothing, there is, of course, no ethical consumption under like a capitalistic system. I understand that. But if we're not doing anything about it, if you're not actually voting, if you're not actually pressuring your representatives, if you're not actually boycotting Starbucks, McDonald's, Disney Plus, go to the BDS list, boycott all of these fucking corporations that are sending money to fund a G-side.
But what about boycott fatigue? Oh my god. Like, literally kick rocks with open sandals. Like, no. Like, there's no such thing as fatigue. Like, ask the children in Palestine if they're fatigued. It's minimal effort. Like, understand, like, some people are forced into certain situations. Like, I think McDonald's is like maybe a good example where some people are like reliant on it. We're not talking to you. Like, we're talking about like the elective choice of choosing McDonald's over something else if your position allows you to do so. And you can focus, like, you can vote with your dollar within capitalism. So it's the minimum responsibility that you can take on as a human being, and just help yourself to not support, like, the indirect support of G-side is also the direct support.
Yes, Red Bull is not okay. Red Bull is on the boycott list as well. And also, like, you know what? I think I'm done. Let's also, like, before you kind of express your opinion on, like, Palestinian resistance groups from, like, your privileged position where you have a roof over your head and you have food on the table and you can travel wherever you want to travel, you can go wherever you want to go, you have complete control over your import and export, you don't have to ask permission when you take a shit in your home. Like, maybe read into Palestinian resistance. Maybe read into why Palestinians are choosing to resist. Read into why Palestinians support the H group or support any other Palestinian resistance group out there, whether it is in the West Bank and East Jerusalem or in Gaza, right? People are supporting it because they're trying to achieve their liberty. Instead of sitting there and having the most liberal of liberalist takes and saying, well, I condemn Palestinian resistance. Like, read a damn book about it. And if you're going to condemn Palestinian resistance, that means you're also going to condemn the ANC. That means you're also going to condemn the Algerians. That means you're also going to condemn Nat Turner. That means you're also going to condemn all the slave revolts. That means you're also going to condemn every single resistance movement out there in the world that tried to achieve its liberation movement. Like, thank you very much.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that colonization is bloody already. Seeing the people's resistance to colonization, it's not fair to look at this in a vacuum. If these types of violence are not the same. The type of violence done by the shooter who went to Club Q to kill queer people, for example, is not the same kind of violence as is done by the trans woman who stomped on him with her heels. It's going to be just two radically different forms of violence. The violence done by a colonized group resisting their colonization is radically different and needs to be understood as different from the violence done by the colonizer to this colonized group of people. We cannot look at these things as equal or equivalent, and we cannot compare these things. Resistance is necessary and good in cases of colonialism. And we should not be judging them based off of what they do from this position.
Thank you for even allowing this space, Ian, even though your debate today was about feminism, and thank you very much for even allowing me to be a co-host, but thank you for opening up your platform to even address this issue, what's happening right now in Rafah.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end stream, but who's live right now? I'll send you over to Dean or Parker's. You guys should definitely go and raid either one of them. But definitely drop a follow to Athena, drop a follow to Kiara. Consider joining the Discord if you're 18 or older. There's a link in my bio, although I've been told that the link doesn't work. So you might need to access it via a web browser. So go to tiktok.com, allegedly.ian, and you can join that way. It's an 18 plus server, but I'm very active in the server, and the server itself is very active. I've gotten to know people in there, and it's always so fun getting to know new people in the server. I would love to see each and every one of you there. Yeah, I also direct at everyone every single time that I'm live, so you'll never miss a live in the future because you will always be notified. I would love to see you there, and make sure you drop a follow so you're able to check the next time I'm live. Consider donating to the GoFundMe in Kiara's bio. I also put it in, I think, live announcements for anyone who is interested in supporting. Thanks everyone so much for coming on out. Thank you so much, Kiara and Athena, for helping me co-host this. I appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to end the live. All right.
Cool. Bye.
Yep. All right.